For over 30 years, Lexus has been celebrating driveway moments. But this year, Driveway's hosted some new traditions, like graduation parades and birthday parties.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Celebrate the season with the Lexus December to Remember sales event. Find exclusive offers on our most popular models with contactless delivery. Now through January 4th. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Click the banner to discover more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Nation Radio. We're going to start the show off with, I guess, our thoughts and opinions and feelings on the news from this weekend that Brodie Lee, Luke Harper, John Huber has died at the age of 41. Crazy. Person that, was having seemingly the time of his life on screen, blossoming as a full-fledged character on AEW, this year after spending the previous 6 years on main roster WWE television, making the best of the bits he got. But yeah, Rich, where are you on this? I kind of don't know what to do myself on this. I'm still processing.
I was devastated. It's still setting in, and I don't think it's going to feel real in a way it is as real as it's going to feel until Wednesday. AEW's rebooked their entire Dynamite as a tribute show. So the stuff they had planned originally is pushed back a week. And I think once we start seeing those testimonies, it's going to hit super hard for me. Up to 2014, the best match I had ever seen in person in my life, Brodie Lee was in it. It was the Usos versus the Wyatt family, 2 out of 3 falls, Battleground 2014. I watched that match pretty much immediately after I got the news that he died. I'm so sad for his family and his friends, and you just look at the outpouring of love that has come his way. I had a drink and watched, a bunch of his matches. I got a Brodie Lee versus Shingo Takagi Dragon Gate match passed my way that I enjoyed a great deal. I got someone that passed me a match he had with Cesaro that was on Main Event that I enjoyed a great deal. And Luke Harper and Brodie Lee, as he later became to be called, was always one of the favorite wrestlers of One Nation Radio from the inception of our program. And going back to the yeah, all that stuff, we always said he was the one in the Wyatt family that's the special one. What the fuck are they doing with anyone else? This guy, it's amazing that he always got compared to Bruiser Brodie, looked like him, and then they both die. Brodie dies at 40. Brodie Lee dies at 41. It's just too surreal, and it still hasn't really officially sunk into me. But Saturday night, I was your eyes welled up, but I didn't cry, but I felt the feeling I should be crying. And then I watched the supercut of him on BTE that is out. It's about a 40-minute YouTube video. I encourage anyone to check it out. It's up there, showing how this guy essentially became a star all over again. This year, that was a huge part of it. And then I figured out that's why I was so sad from the Brodie Lee stuff, because Brodie Lee, he's the wrestler's death is just linked in with wrestling for some strange reason. Wrestlers always die, but watching Brodie Lee have all that fun with all those people in the Dark Order, revive it, and just all year, just every Monday I had something to look forward to with Brodie Lee in the Dark Order. And now you find out Brodie Lee's dead. I was are you serious? And for me, I am going to miss the hell out of Brodie Lee, because he was a guy that everyone respected. You could see how his career got fucked with on so many occasions. He was frozen, put on ice, and we always knew that guy had it. We saw him get out. He proved it in a way like Moxley did. And anyone that bets on themselves and then comes out looking better on the other side, like, he's nothing but an inspiration. All the stories that have come out saying he's buying people ring jackets to look better, in the group, mentoring them, just like everything you hear about this guy, it's just fucking tragic. And like, as I mentioned, from the inception of One Nation Radio, this guy is always like, we've always praised him. I don't think we've ever like said like anything bad about him ever on this show. Like, maybe a promo here or there was misguided once or twice, but like
that. I think maybe the accent thing when he's like, I'm a team player, but we didn't say he sucked. We were just like,
nah, that shit's
we were just funny. Like, wait, is he from Louisiana now all of a sudden? But that was pretty much the gist of it.
Like, I'm so blown. I'm so heartbroken for his family, his son, for AEW, for like the group that he was in, and the fans everywhere that loved him. Like, this weekend has just been, I imagine that this is what it felt like when, like, 'cause we're not getting like young wrestler deaths like too often. Like, we got Hana Kimura earlier this year, but that was like, that felt different than this in a way. Yeah. The Shad Gaspard thing earlier this year when he passed on, but Brodie Lee was such a high profile guy that it just stinks all the way around, and I'm very sad. Check out Being the Elite also this week. They did about a 13-minute video. Silver and Reynolds are the primary people just giving testimonials, and then I believe 10 jumps in, various other members of the Dark Order, and then it's a big super cut of just more stuff that he did. But I'm looking forward. They're going to honor him with so much class and dignity come Wednesday. I can guarantee it pretty much, and I think it's going to be like one of the more touching things you ever see in wrestling.
Yeah, you mentioned that us as wrestling fans started show in 2012. And like, we were immediately like onto the Brodie Lee thing, and probably when Bray Wyatt debuted in 2013, and we kind of pretty quickly were able to zero in and like, oh yo, this Brodie or this Luke Harper dude is really damn good. And then like it kept going like, yo, how good is this dude exactly? Like, is he great? Is he could he be something beyond what he's doing right now, being the second person with Bray Wyatt, this guy that is talking in riddles. And, to WWE's credit, they actually, like, tried to elevate him at different points, He seemed like a guy that seemed like every other year they were giving him some type of shot. It just, for whatever reason, and we've heard the reasons about, about an accent or something dumb or whatever, like they wouldn't have anything for him, and then they would bring him back or whatever else. But he was a dude that, similar to Cesaro, pretty much any opportunity he got, he made the most of it, and we all recognized it. Everybody, like, I think that's one of the things about people talk about like the internet wrestling community, and most of it is in a pejorative sense, but like, I don't think if there was a Twitter around 15 years ago that someone like Brodie Lee gets the kind of effusive praise that he got and we saw over this weekend. And I think it's a lot to do with the fact that, like, we have smarter fans. We know what good wrestlers are, and that dude was a good ass wrestler, and it was easy to sniff out. I remember when I was in Baltimore working with Josh, and like I would talk to y'all throughout the day out there, and like Brian Brian. David Shoemaker, the Masked Man from Grantland and The Ringer, wrote up a list of like draft picks or whatever else. Something talking about like future prospect, future ability, and potential for. And treating like WWE roster and the youngins or whatever else is like draft prospects, and saw that like Luke Harper was up there high, and it was like we had talked about it, like even see Shoemaker sees this shit too. We're not tripping, like this dude's really fucking good, and you would see him like show out at times in really his first real shot, which was like the Wyatt versus Shield matches where he would carry the day for the Wyatt side for working their asses off. You saw the stuff he would do with the Usos at the time, like when they were involved with Cena and Wyatt when they were doing their WrestleMania feud, and then they started having the tag matches like the one you mentioned. I think that was probably the second match they did on TV anyway. And that match was awesome, and then. He was doing so much good work that like they put him in, they put him on the Authority side of the Team Cena versus Team Authority Survivor Series men's match, which was an awesome fucking match. He was in that. He won the IC title. He had that awesome ladder match at TLC with Ziggler. He's a part of the 7-way tag match at WrestleMania 35. He power bombs Dean Ambrose's ass to death through a ladder bridge.
Highlight reel for all time.
Yes. He had a bunch of different times like where he would get. And I remember specifically about that part was that in the road to WrestleMania that year they were in Orlando, and like I went up there on like 2.5 hours notice. It was like, oh yeah, they are doing Raw there. Like it's like a February 2015 show, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy a nosebleed ticket. I'm gonna go just to go. Mm-hmm. And watch nosebleed. And it was Moxley versus not Moxley. I'm sorry, it was Ambrose versus Harper, and I'm in the nosebleed, and I'm just like, and I'm literally like, because I like both of them, I'm rooting for the match, and the people around me are like, why are you not rooting for Dean Ambrose? Like, and I was telling him, like, I'm rooting for the match to be good because he's two good ass wrestlers, and they had a fun match. But yeah, it's just all the stuff he went through in his career there, like, and all the times he showed improved in the ring. The Bludgeon Brothers even had well, before we get to the Bludgeon Brothers, like the part where he's like the third wheel or whatever else in the Wyatt and Orton thing to get to WrestleMania 33, where he has the kick-ass match with Orton at Elimination Chamber. He has a match with AJ that goes to the tie over the top rope. Like, he's a good-ass wrestler, man. And I don't think in any other era he would have gotten that effusive praise. People would have talked about him and talked about how great of a guy he was, how much of a family man, how much he loved his wife and his kid. But to see people talk about that, and like, it was funny because once I saw the news, I went all these matches I just went through. Like, I decided, even from then to now with like the Moxley match this year, the Dog Collar match this year, the was it like a 12-person tag?
Yeah, Dark Order versus the Elite and FTR.
Yeah, like somebody from FTR goes out, like the other FTR member goes out with Hangman, they're running underneath, and then he mops them up and he ends up winning the match. Yeah, like I had wrote up a list of all these, and I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be like a three thing tweet. And then like I was like, I'm debating whether I should put it out there. I don't know if that's since this person died, should I even mention it? Like these moments I thought of how good of a wrestler this dude was. And then like I look around a little bit more while I had it in drafts, and I see other people already had it up. People have a list of links to it, to all these matches. And people have all these matches that I mentioned too, and it was like, I ain't crazy. Like, everybody saw this shit too with him. Everybody had these moments of enjoyment watching this dude go out there on the stage and do his thing. And at that point, I felt no need to actually, like, you know, put out the same thing that anybody else can, because then you're just stealing, you know, people's shine when they had to put their work in and they got out before I did. But yeah, it made me happy that to see the people, like, think of him in that way, and that he, you know, he's gone now, but flowers were still given, and his family and his friends and everybody else that, you know, talk about how, you know, that are in this, that, you know, that feel that, you know, this is such a shitty thing they have to dealing with, you know, the fandom on this stupid app, can see for at least, like, you know, for a few hours or for a day or whatever, maybe a week, that it ain't all bad. There is some, you know, in a time like this, we can all put together to do what's right. And, you know, I'm gonna miss the hell out of him, because, you know, he's one of the best big man wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. He moved around so well, like, and he just got it from a modernized standpoint of what wrestling is. And I felt like even if he had if it was a situation where his career had been over, he'd been somebody that, like, could have taught, like, you mean to tell me, like, given what they're doing, like WWE is doing with like the Keith Lees and the Dijaks and the Strowmans and all that stuff, like, you mean to tell me, like, Brodie Lee would be a great big man, like, he can do the big man camp for people, like, he'd be great at it. So for me, it sucks from the prospect of, like, I'll never see that dude be able to do his sing live anymore, but I am glad that, like, he is getting his flowers, even though, you know, they came too late. But it just sucked. Like, obviously, you know, death waits for no one, but I thought we had kind of got past this shitty year without it getting any more shitty, and then this happened, and it was another bummer. I still haven't processed it, but yeah, man, just can't wait to get this fucking year off of me. Like, maybe the air will smell better once we're done with this fucking year. This disaster.
Yeah. So I want to go over the card Tony Khan put out. So the card he put out -1, who was Brodie Lee's son. And they referred to him on commentary on Dark. He was sitting in the crowd with a mask on the last show. They put his favorites together, which are Cody Rhodes, Orange Cassidy, and 10. They're going to be taking on Team Taz. The Young Bucks and Colt Cabana will be taking on Matt Hardy and Private Party. Hangman, Silver, and Reynolds versus MJF, Santana, and Ortiz. We got Anna Jay and Ty Conti versus Dr. Britt Baker and Penelope Ford. Lance Archer, Uno, and Grayson versus Kingston, Butcher, and Blade. So it's Dark Order everywhere on this show. And I imagine testimonials all in between the matches. I think it's going to be a special night, and I would not miss this show for, like, much. Like, I think it's amazing to see, like, how he believed in himself and he took the challenge, because, like, walking into the Dark Order at the time he did, that wasn't no popular thing. That wasn't no easy decision. That wasn't no, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just walk in and just be on top by myself. He could have easily did that. And he was like, he saw opportunity, saw people that he worked with previously in Uno and Grayson, and was like, let's see if I can make this shit pop. And they fucking did. And he helped create another person, like with Silver, and John Silver's gonna, like, reap this shit, I feel like.
Yeah. And another part about it is, like, it's one thing when you know you're going into a situation that could turn shitty really quick. It's another thing when, like, that could happen and the people think it's going to be someone besides you. Like, so many people thought that the Exalted One was going to be Broken Man Hardy, and then it wasn't. You know, I do feel, you know, I am bummed out that, like, he didn't get the, you know, the AEW pop in Rochester because of this stupid fucking virus. But yeah, you know, he's never going to be able to get the hot reception in front of the hot AEW crowd, like, anywhere across the country. Yeah, which is fucking
thoughts.
But
I feel lucky to have seen him in AEW.
Yeah. Just a dude that, like, I'm not the wrestling fan that I am now in 2020 if I never see him first in, like, 2014. Like, he's one of them dudes, like, same thing with, like, Cesaro. Like, they just changed what you think out of what you want out of wrestling. They just did. Guys like him, along with, you know, the others like CM Punk and Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan and AJ and everybody else. But yeah, just a hell of a wrestler. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm out. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Brodie Lee. Have a drink for him. Watch his matches and remember what that dude meant to you, because I feel like he's not necessarily the like, it's not John Cena that's dying, right? It's not like Hulk Hogan. It's not The Rock or, you know, someone like Roman Reigns. This is like wrestling fans wrestler. Like, he belongs to the wrestling fans, the wrestling community. So and he belongs to his family, of course. Like, but he was one of our guys, and you'd never expect this to happen this way. But rest in peace, Brodie Lee.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Okay, so the business at hand for this show will be previewing the 2020 One Nation Radio Award nominees. We did this show last year, a lot earlier in December than they're doing it this year. A lot of that is on me because, quite frankly, I kind of got fed up with watching any of the E for the last 2-3 weeks. So I'm just like, I don't feel like watching that shit. Please, I don't feel like it. Let's just do something else. I don't want to talk about any more weekly wrestling for a while. So now that we're in the year mode, is finally upon us. We can talk about some of the best and worst of 2020 professional wrestling. So Rich, you want to carry us through here? We're, also, because this is now 12:31 in the morning, we are not going to do it as long as we did last year, because that was like a 3-hour show. We're not doing that. So we're gonna kind of speed around or move around in here pretty quickly and try to get out of here in a decent time. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it just the same.
So we've got, for those of you that would like to join the Wrestling Square Circle Facebook group, there is a audio post of our cut down process of these. So you'll hear like what went into us making these decisions if we don't like cover it in complete detail. I believe it starts from like the 3rd award on. So go to the Wrestling Square Circle Facebook group and check that audio out. I'm gonna yank that audio if I can and get it uploaded. And try to get it uploaded on the One Nation Radio feed as well. here on the network. So let's start with the big dog. So not Roman Reigns, but the Shawn Michaels in-ring performer of the year. So this just goes to the best in-ring performer. We're talking about the star ratings. We're talking about just week to week, month to month, like putting into big matches, who's getting people over, who's shining on their own. So we've got 8 nominees across 4 promotions, I believe. So from the top, we've got Tomohiro Ishii, we got Shingo Takagi, Kenny Omega, Mayu Iwatani, Hiromu Takahashi, the Young Bucks, Kyle O'Reilly, and Momo Watanabe.
Yeah, just, I think unless we're talking about like Go Shiozaki, we're talking about literally everybody you want to mention for best wrestler in 2020 in the ring from bell to bell. It's crazy that like it's weird that Okada's not on here. It just is, but it's the truth.
Yeah,
it's the truth. I loved Hiromu's year. I loved Shingo's year with the Never Belt. I loved Mayu's year, of course, in great detail. Kenny had a great year. A year that's like has a lot of variety because he was at the top of 2 different divisions at different point and did very well with both. I don't know who I'm voting for number 1. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to wherever like Mayu's going to play somewhere for me, but outside of that, I really have no. I really have no clue who I'm going to pick. I will probably say
loaded
Ishii.
category.
Yeah, I think Ishii might be also a lock to place, but like outside of that, I don't know where else to go. But it's a good like. It's crazy. We were going through the Hangman, or we were going through all these cutoffs. We were like Momo or whoever else, and Momo. We were like, dude, are we underselling how good fucking year the Momo had? Like she probably should have been a lock. Like that's how good she was all year throughout the year, and all these tags with Azumi, she was great. So yeah, it's
some
a really
cuts
strong
were
list.
like Pete Dunne, Hangman Page,
Io Shirai,
Io Shirai. So you had to be like at the like. You had to have like no holes, and what we did was like we argued like against the people in their own promotion, and then we like cross-examined them against other people. So we felt that we got 8 of the best here, and it's up to you guys. Drop fair votes on them, and try to if you didn't necessarily check out a Momo Watanabe or the Young Bucks week to week, or Hiromu Takahashi, or even Kenny Omega or Ishii, like. Take a look at what they did. Look at it on paper. Look at it for yourself. If you can find those videos, and take a look at what these folks gave you in the pandemic, largely in empty arena environments, and look at how they adapted to this style essentially, because this is a year unlike any other, and I think that's reflected throughout the voting. So. But yeah, I don't know who my favorites are yet, but yeah, we'll see. Like because it's a loaded category.
Yeah.
So up next, we've got WWE Women Wrestlers of the Year. So we've got 6 nominees here. We've got Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Asuka. So yeah, like 3 main roster, 3 NXT people here. I'm sure people are wondering where Charlotte is, but I think that she missed half the year, so it gets a little tough there for her when you start breaking it down here. But with I think you got your with Sasha, I feel like you've got your traditional candidate like of a Flair Thez style here. You got like the good wrestling, the star presence, the winning as a baby face, all in there. I think with Io, you've got also probably like a smaller scale Flair Thez argument there, and then you just got different people like Asuka who are like sensational throughout the first part of the pandemic. Bayley did a lot of critically acclaimed work, and Candice LeRae is like just they've turned her, but like she's ascended in her own way.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
Everything I'm gathering, yeah.
Yeah, like to see how Johnny had to carry her through a lot of the talking at first, and then like by the time we get to it's time to do War Games, like there's nobody else that could be carrying the promo work besides her. Like if there was a most improved wrestler thing for the promo part or whatever else, like she's definitely improved, and like she didn't really like all of a sudden like become some gigantic personality to do so. She more or less just figured out how to turn it into her own by basically like, look, I'm not a boisterous person. I'm not this big. I'm soft spoken, so I can just be like condescendingly evil in my own way. Like I can be an asshole while being like, while not being all over the place. Like she's done a really good job with it. But yeah, I think so much of her stuff was connected to Io, and her and Io just have great chemistry. Rhea been tasked with a bunch of different things, and despite how good or shitty these things were, she did very well with it. Whether it was trying to carry her friend Raquel throughout in the Hoss battles, the Io match is one of the best matches of the year in WWE. Her match at WrestleMania was the best pure wrestling match on WrestleMania for developmental prospect. She got handed a lot of shit, and she turned a lot of shit into chicken salad this year. Sasha just had a renaissance year. This is the year that we've been waiting for her to have, and it's sad in a way that's like we don't even give a fuck about the main roster that way anymore. Yep. But it's like this is a year she should have had in like 2016 or 17 or 18 or 19.
Like this is where they should have picked her over Charlotte. Like,
yep. But we
apparently WWE did like the bare minimum for Luke Harper on Raw tonight, and there's a huge thing where the WWE Homer fans are yelling at Brian Myers for being disappointed in WWE doing the bare minimum to memorialize his friend.
Let me guess, they put up the graphic saying, John Huber, the picture in black, and then the year of birth, year of death, and that was it.
I'm not sure yet, but they did not do a 10-bell salute. And no, a graphic was shown, no 10-bell salute.
I would figure they do the 10-bell salute just for the fact that like you're gonna piss off a lot of your employees if you don't. But whatever. Back to the lecture at hand. That's the reason why I didn't really want to talk about the WWE aspect of him getting the fuck out of there. Because it's like, things go wrong. They gave him some opportunity. They didn't completely, it's not they treat him like he was EC3, right? But it was one of the things where it's like, I'd rather not talk about that. I like to talk about like the good moments I had watching him perform, wherever it was. I don't
Alexa
like the other
also
where
gasoline herself.
Say again?
So Alexa Bliss also dumped gasoline on herself. Like, why didn't they do any of this for the 3.3 million viewers that tuned in for SmackDown? Like, why did they do this shit?
It's almost they realize that's fucking stupid. Let's back to okay. Like Bayley was a great foil for Sasha, and then like really good catalyst in those two versus the Kabuki Warriors during the summer. The finish of that one match, I'm not even going to get into it, but like they did a lot of good wrestling in between some of the nonsense. So I thought Bayley was deserving of it. I feel like she stepped up very well with everybody fucking gone that they actually really want to push. So there's that as well. So yeah, I think it's a. And then Asuka, Asuka may as well, or sorry, the Raw may as well fold up the fucking division if it's not for Asuka this year. Like, no Charlotte, no Becky. Asuka is out here having to wrestle Zelina Vega and carry her to a fucking good match on pay-per-view. Look, it's so bound on depleted that they're out here like, let's do Kabuki Warriors versus Sasha and Bayley to try to carry both these divisions because there's only like two good wrestlers on each division. I felt like she was like Steph Curry on the Warriors right now with like Clay out. Wow. Really, dude, it's like I'm surrounded by fucking idiots, bro. I'm fighting for my fucking life. So I really loved Asuka. She was at the beginning of the year, the first half of the year. She was probably the she probably would not vote for WWE Wrestler of the Year in general. She's tailed off since because, they stopped doing the Sasha stuff. But
and eventually, it's a tough ass for her to keep, doing John Henry's work.
Yeah. Yeah. Carry the vision on your back while everybody is leaving / doing stupid shit. You're in the middle of a pandemic, and because you have the charisma of 5 motherfuckers, you were putting on TV. You can't speak the language. That is a tough ass. You're right.
Yeah. So NXT or WWE NXT Wrestler of the Year. So of course these are combined as well. So we got Finn Balor, Asuka, Damian Priest, Io Shirai, Sasha Banks, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. So a nice category when you think about it. 8 strong candidates there. Like a first timer, like a Damian Priest showing up here and relatively, kind of new. Like he wasn't really, before this year as focused on.
Right.
You got your Sasha and Io and Asuka, so we got 3 women nominated here. We got our top champions, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. This year has pretty much been the year of McIntyre. Orton with a throwback year, and Balor, just kind of big leaguing in NXT. I'm not doing no jobs. I'm gonna eventually get the belt, and I'm just gonna. I have a confusing character, but the Booker just loves me. So,
I gotta say, I feel like whoever wins this will be the weakest award winner that we've had out of this category.
So let's see what we got. So we have 4 NXT, and then we have 4 main roster people here. So what side do we think is going to do better on this one, James?
Ooh,
because I'm looking at it, that the main roster candidates look kind of strong here.
I would say that they are going to win, and that is a stinging indictment of what NXT has done with their stars on the top. In a regular year, if this had been a year ago, and they did what they were doing with Keith Lee finishes out the rest of the year in NXT and wins it going away. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying that?
And he ends up having more matches of high profile.
Right.
They don't burn fire in his face and do all type of crap shit.
They don't make him the champion they don't make him the champion then lose it 3 or 4 weeks fucking later. They don't do that. NXT. And I talked about this when we were doing earlier when we were cutting down, as far as what should be nominated for some of these awards for miscalculations or bad booking. It was NXT did have 4 different NXT champions in the span of 7 weeks. That's a problem. That probably doesn't help you. I don't know who's going to win this. I imagine it's going to be Drew McIntyre or Sasha Banks or Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I think it's those 3, and then everybody else fighting for scraps. So after that, we have our New Japan Wrestler of the Year. So we got 8 nominees here. We've got Tomohiro Ishii, Kota Ibushi, Shingo Takagi, Kazuchika Okada, Minoru Suzuki, Hiromu Takahashi, Tetsuya Naito, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So lots of variants here. You've got the underrated people balling. You've got your normal top stars kind of coming down to reality. You've got consistency. You've got someone like Hiromu Takahashi. You have Tetsuya Naito riding in there on his name. You got Hiroshi Tanahashi putting in a great, mid-40s year. The issues that we've had with New Japan have been well chronicled here on this show this year, but when it comes to Wrestler of the Year, there's a lot of strong candidates here.
Yeah.
But then I'm fearful for the voting because I think people are going to be fucking marks. To say it, as bluntly as I can. But I don't know. What do you think, James?
I think that Naito is going to win this award, and it will fly in the face of what these awards have been annually, which is basically centered mostly around someone having good promos, being pushed on top, having great wrestling matches. Like, for example, I'm trying to think of something. John Cena, I don't think, may have won this one time for won a quote unquote Fez Flair style award for us, right? One time ever.
In 2015, he won the Wrestler of the Year, the Ric Flair Wrestler of the Year, and the Shawn Michaels Interim Performer of the Year.
Right, and that took the open challenge for him to do such a thing, and he was the most over person in the business, right?
Yeah,
to accomplish such a thing, right? Like, Naito has so much stuff, for as much stuff as he has going for him, which is like the politic hand rubbing stuff of he's the most over guy in the company or second most over guy in the company, whatever. And he's a merch mover big time. Like, there's that. But as far as the part where in 2020 you're supposed to talk the talk and walk the walk and have the feuds that people want to see, he did not do much of that this year, especially compared to his stablemates, Hiromu Takahashi versus someone like a Desperado, or a Dragon Lee again, or someone like Shingo in the Never stuff when he's fighting Suzuki and he's fighting Goto and he's fighting Ishii. That just didn't happen in that way. This was a really bad year, and the overwhelming majority of that to blame is the fact that they decided to try to make a guy an evil, and it did not work at all this year. And so you have no choice but to. I believe Naito to still be a diamond, but evil was doo-doo that was stuck to that diamond throughout the year. So I can't say he's shining brightly leaving 2020.
Yeah, I don't think Tetsuya Naito's performance would have been accepted by any of the last, I don't know how many IWGP champions, but at least the last two. I think Suzuki had a sneaky underrated year no one's talking about. Kota Ibushi, I think, the G1 kind of took some shine off him losing the briefcase. We only did 8, so someone like a Jay White is not here, even though he was kind of critically acclaimed upon coming back. But COVID jail kind of hurt him a little bit there.
Ospreay also another
Ospreay
person
as well.
That had an even more critically acclaimed 2020 in New Japan than Jay White. He was also in COVID jail, so that hurt him as well. Like, this was the year to where if they had been around, like, I would have been glad to have have Ospreay take and maybe even Jay White take Naito and Okada the fuck out of here. That's how disappointing I felt like watching both of those two this year. And like, the highs for Okada were higher than the highs for Naito, but it was still rough to try to watch that King of Pro Wrestling shit and watch him, for lack of a better word, fuck off in some of these New Japan Cup matches. It really was jarring. It was like, yo, like, he clearly is like, I'm down cycling because y'all are doing this over there. So like, I'll be ready whenever you want to be done with your fucking fantasy games over here with this Naito evil shit. Let me know. Holla. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I felt like he not let go of the rope, but like, he's like, all right.
Very interesting interview about his match with Ospreay, where he commented on the quality of the IWGP title matches this year.
Did.
So,
what did he say?
Yes, very interesting. Tomohiro Ishii, MVP of the New Japan Cup as well as the G1.
Yep.
Just a guy that has asked for your love every year. Will you give it to him?
Now, if this were a normal year, the average person that you say someone was the MVP of the New Japan Cup in the G1, doesn't that mean it's almost like a slam dunk? They should win this fucking thing. They should win like New Japan Wrestler of the Year at least, not necessarily even go to as far as Wrestler of the Year. Shouldn't need to be a lot click clack.
Yeah, like except he receives zero protection in booking. So like
he's pushed as if he's fucked someone's daughter.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to our Newcomer of the Year award. So
hold on, we didn't talk about Hiromu. Hiromu's fucking awesome. Hiromu. This dude
off a broken neck.
Yeah, this dude had his first singles match from breaking his neck on January 4th. think of what he's done this year. He's been one of the 5 best wrestlers in the world in any promotion. Like, he's just been incredible.
I wish they wanted him, joining the Bullet Club, becoming the leader.
That's
wouldn't
have had this problem
at all.
Naito had fought Hiromu. Naito not fighting Hiromu might be the reason why we all feel like he really isn't the wrestler of the year in New Japan, because that that anniversary match got taken from us.
Yep,
and we won't get it back until next year, if that.
Yeah. So up next we got our newcomer of the year. So this is the first year in WWE, New Japan, AEW, or Stardom. A little bit slight modification from last year, but we've got 8 nominees here. We've got Wardlow, the War Dog, John Silver, Ricky Starks, Eddie Kingston, Thunder Rosa, Micah, Shuri, and Julia. A lot of variants here. People that have been in the business forever, like Eddie Kingston, newcomers, straight newcomers like Wardlow or Julia, like Micah, who doesn't have a ton of experience that I know of. So long time indie standouts, Ricky Starks and Silver.
Julia. I'm sorry, not Julia, but Shuri. Shuri's a long-time indie standout.
Yeah, in her own way, yeah. And then like someone like a Thunder Rosa just kind of pops in, not even signed with a promotion, but has been spotlighted. I feel like she'll eventually be there, but I like this award because it's like it's a futures pick,
right?
So like who do y'all think kind of killed it, and then also like where's it going? So.
Yeah, man. It just depends on what you like. Like, if you want the promos, you got Starks there, you got Kingston there. If you want the pure work, you got Shuri there. If if you want a beat 'em up match, you got Micah there. If you want to see technical expertise, you got Shuri and Thunder Rosa there. Like, it's a really, if you want a classic American muscle car, you got Wardlow. It's a lot. It's going to come down to, I don't know who's going to win, but it's going to come down to just your people's personal preferences. So I don't know who's going to win in this.
One of the stronger categories of newcomer of the year that we've ever had, I would say.
Are you glad that we decided to cut that shit and say, hey man, let's throw Stardom on here? Yeah. We bolstered this so well.
Yep. So up next, we've got our Dusty Rhodes Promo Cutter of the Year award. This goes to the person with the best promos. So we've got 8 nominees here. We got Jon Moxley, Taz, Cody Rhodes, MJF, Randy Orton, Eddie Kingston, Pat McAfee, and Chris Jericho. Lots of AEW on here. Yep. This is the promotion like last year.
One thing I want to make note of is I feel like
Kingston and fucking Taz.
Right. I feel like this should be known before we get into it. This year in 2020, I believe, was the best year of the One Nation Radio era of pro wrestling that we've covered as far as promos and talking segments go. I remember at the beginning of the year, I wrote a list of people that had great promos or cut multiple good promos, whether it was Daniel Bryan, whether it was Johnny Gargano, whether it was Adam Cole, whether it was, by the time we got to the middle of the year, Kyle O'Reilly, Tommaso Ciampa, Santana. Randy Orton had what I still think is the best promo of the year I've heard. And then it throws in like the regulars like Jericho, MJF, Kingston comes to the forefront, Moxley cuts a fucking great promo every goddamn week. Kenny Omega finally decides like he wants to be a star. John Callis shows up in AEW, or a traditional American wrestling star. Obviously he's a fucking star. That's not what I'm getting at. I saw you roll your eyes. I was like, yeah, let me correct that. So as far as
I didn't roll my eyes.
But yeah, like we had so many great promos. Brodie had great promos. Like someone were hit or miss, but even he had great promos. Like it was so many good promos. Like it was such a great promo year. Where it's like Britt Baker came out at the beginning of the year with the fucking Yoshi Hammer smashing people.
She was like the last cut on this, y'all. Like for. for this. So
it was a great year for promos. It was a great year for promos. Like Sonya Deville, I think I mentioned Sonya Deville or whatever else earlier, but like when she had to break up from Mandy, like that was also great. You know, people that we always had around that we knew were good promos that they use a little bit, like Mustafa Ali as well. Like it was
Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes as well. Every time that man gets for a match, he needs to cut a 30 or like a 90-second promo. So see, Edge. I forgot about Edge. Great promos.
Yeah. Yep. So like just looking at this category, it's like what do you want? So Moxley, you got a traditional ruffian, tough man, world champion. Taz, you've got a chip on his shoulder, schmuck manager. Cody, you've got a traditional like top star. You know, just trying to, you know, get through essentially. MJF, a fucking sleazeball that's like on the rise, about to overtake a whole gang. Did all this stuff with Cody. Randy Orton taps into something this year to where there's no fans in the building, but like he can just look in the camera and look more menacing.
And even when
Eddie
there were
Kingston,
fans,
a fucking whirlwind.
And even when there were fans, he was great as well. But yeah, definitely. Like after that, Kingston's just
Eddie Kingston, just a whirlwind of like, what the fuck is that? Like,
like it feels
Pat McAfee rolls out of bed.
I was gonna say with Kingston, like it feels like when we first start getting like the Samoa Joe promos on Roman Reigns, where it's like, yo, he's on people's fucking necks, like, like that's how I felt with some of these Kingston things.
Yeah, we got Pat McAfee just rolls out of bed, and has tons of charisma, and just like needs to sprinkle some of the charisma on the other people in NXT. Like, hey man, can we like. You know, I'm sure the rules are a little different for Pat, but
they were.
Yeah, he's worthy of it. So, and then you know, Chris Jericho, why wouldn't he be here? So, you start thinking about the feud with Moxley. Everything's done in all the segments with MJF. The stuff with Orange Cassidy, just brilliant. It's a brilliant mind. So,
like clearly, like listening to. Every time he does like the matches with like the young guys when they cut their promos, you can see some of the traces of some of the Jericho DNA and blueprint in their promos. I mean, clearly like, he's been helping them out with as far as what to say to build up this thing that we're about to do in like in like 2 minutes. Like, yeah.
Coaching like kind of oddly, it's funny. Jericho and Tanahashi wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put Jericho on his level in the ring, right? Right. But if you start thinking about like. If you can talk about that as far as like promos and helping build guys, like he was right there wrestling Isaiah Cassidy. He's in there with Top Flight this past week. He was in there doing tag matches with Hager against, I forgot who it was, but it was another young team.
A few teams, yeah.
Yeah. And just coaching dudes through promos and so like he should definitely be there. So up next, we got the AEW Wrestler of the Year. So as much as we praise Chris Jericho here, let's get to it. So our 8 people here, we've got Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Darby Allin, MJF, Hangman Page, and Brodie Lee. So no Chris Jericho there. I think the work fell off in the ring to too much of a degree to put him over any of these guys on here. And then looking at the people on here, as I mentioned, you got a traditional world champion. You've got Kenny Omega doing damage in 2 divisions. You got the Bucks doing damage, and just sending out a preliminary fuck you for before they go on the Observer Hall of Fame ballot next year, I believe, and they moonwalk in. Just another vintage year for those guys. Cody takes a step back, but kind of builds up that secondary championship, and that's like a highlight of the summer.
I feel like he's kind of we talked about it. We had 4 locks, and he wasn't one of the locks, and then we talked about the next set of people, and it was like 5 or 6 people for the next 5 slots, and like immediately after we go through it was like Cody's 5. Immediately we need to make him a lock. It was almost like, damn, why do we even bother making him why do we make him go through this process anyway? Same for Darby. Cody had such a phenomenal beginning of the year that the only thing that really hurt him was the fact that he was so successful that he decided to get another gig, and he kind of had to go away for a little bit, and then like he kind of the Brodie thing took off so well, it was like they went back to when it kind of felt like it's kind of like walking in place, but he hasn't really like captured what he was doing before with the first half of the year. But the first half of the year was so phenomenal that like the only thing that's hurting him is the fact that like it was the first half of the year instead of the last half of the year, because if like it was reversed and like he would have been a definite lock and it would have been no thought.
Darby Allin, your new TNT champion, did great TV work all year.
Yep.
Did some solid pay-per-view stuff with Sammy Guevara, as well as Cody, and just put it on a line. Like he's, been intertwined with Team Taz all year. So, and just, I felt like leaped as a star, this year. Like from last year, he was like this rookie, and then now he's somebody. So, MJF.
Unique. Very unique.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not often you see churches being set on fire and shit. Like,
well, just like it's unique and it's different every single week while feeling familiar, and like that's the magic.
Yep, MJF,
crazy,
just like prove that he's top. He's gonna be a star for the next 25 years. He's gonna work safe. He's gonna never get hurt. He's gonna cut great promos. He's got his first taste of headlining this year. He's got generational rivals set everywhere. He's got Jericho ready to hand him the inner circle. If you don't see what MJF, I don't know what you're missing, like, at this point. So, Hangman Page, of course, all those tag matches that Kenny Omega was in, Hangman was in there with him, and he built a solid resume outside of that as well, with matches against Wardlow, Frank Kazarian, and I'm blanking on the other one. Oh, also Kenny Omega, yeah. He was just a central person this year, and you talk about someone being hotter than the fucking sun before the pandemic. He may be the single biggest person, affected by COVID-19, like where he was in his career, ready to launch to before all the shit shut down.
Yeah. I loved his match with Wardlow so much, in a couple months ago or last month or whatever else. Just then there was a lot of pressure on him at the time, because we're just like, he is that middle guy, kind of like Pac, where it's like, is he a top guy or is he a top of the middle card or the mid card guy? And he hadn't really he kind of had been grooved, pitches or whatever else, throughout the year, or actually throughout the entire run of AEW, and like to go out there on a big spot with Wardlow and the way that it came through, it like it just really just like made me think higher of the potential level for Hangman and Wardlow, and I'm buying up all the stock on Wardlow, and a lot of that is because of what he did in that spot with Hangman, and Hangman wasn't out here, well obviously he's not the one getting carried, but he did a great job on that match, and this made me think like this dude is more than I give him credit for, even though I think he's great, but or really damn good, but like he probably is great now at this point, and we should just say it as flatly as that. Still think his character was a mess, but whatever. Like I ain't got it. Look, everybody else loves it, so that's just a me thing.
And then Brodie Lee, 7-month run with AEW, wins the TNT title, main events pay-per-view, rebuilds the Dark Order, destroys Cody, brutal match with the dog collar match, and this is the last time he's going to be nominated for something like this. So,
yeah. also of note, the squashing angle after the post match thing is like one of the best things in wrestling this year. Like something that literally made me like shout in joy as far as like, this is fucking awesome. So yeah, short campaign, but a damn impressive one.
All you independent wrestlers, the TNT Open Challenge is over.
You remember when that man was talking shit during one of his matches where he beat the hell out of somebody, and he told Silver to get up on the ring and show the crowd the title, and then that man showed the title for a second, and he shoved his ass before. That's one of the funniest fucking things I saw this year. It's like, wait, what? Why? He's abusing this man, Rich.
Yeah. So,
oh god, that was awesome.
Tough category. And then as I mentioned, like or Moxley, I didn't think we talked about Moxley. Moxley, like, just the author of like feuds.
Can we also mention, like, he also had Brodie also had an elite level squash this year against
Marco Stunt.
Yes. Also should be mentioned.
John Moxley is just the author of feuds, like traditional storytelling, like what he didn't give you at the very top end of like star rating wise, like he's more than made up for it. Like, just he's promoing every week and just he's John fucking Wayne. Like that's what the fuck I see when I see John Moxley.
We always talked about Bray Wyatt as like, he's like AJ Burnett back in the day. Like, yeah, he may have a 4.50 a 4.5 ERA, but he's going to eat up innings. Like, John Moxley came out here and gave us like he gave us Kershaw. He gave us like Doc Holliday. You know what I'm saying? He came out here and he carried these innings and basically took the ball and said, Skipper, get the fuck out the way. I'm going complete games out here. Like, one hitters, two hitters. It's just great. He was so good at it. He was one of the few guys that, like, over the last few years where he was like, I don't really care about like if they got to over 4.5. Like, this was so fulfilling watching him go through Inner Circle. This was so fulfilling watching him go, like, finally beat the shit out of that shithead MJF. This was so fulfilling watching him in Kingston. This, like, him, when he showed up, he beat the shit out of Kenny Omega in the fucking silhouette was fucking hilarious. Like, there was so much there this year, and it's like, it was so rewarding watching that dude that, from, you think about him in 2016 to now, it's like, we weren't crazy. He always had it. It was always there, regardless of how stupid it got with fucking inoculations and getting, whatever else, and gas masks and shit. Like, it was, and wearing chain or wallet chains with no wallet attached, whatever. Like, it was there. We weren't fucking crazy. We were gaslit. And now that we're away from now that some of us are away from that over there, we can watch what we always knew was there. We're not crazy. Yeah. It feels great to not feel like we weren't crazy.
Exactly. Kenny Omega, phenomenal from the start of the year, January 1st to now. Felt like he wanted to send a message to everybody this year, I think, from, they threw dirt on him last year for whatever reason, but they did. And from January 1st on, it was like, all right, I'm a shepherd this guy, Hangman Page, who we're going to make a star. Handcuff him to me and we'll be all right. And they were. And they had that 228-day reign between him and Hangman, doing single stuff in the meantime with Pac, Iron Man match, doing shit like crazy shit like the moonsault off the crane. I can remember one of the all-time Dynamite moments where they run over Sammy Guevara. Kenny's hanging out the side like a fucking madman. His work, he goes to fucking Mexico and just has a fucking match or whatever. Like, that's super raw. And he's back, does the world title eliminator tournament also another great squash of the year. With him going over to kiss, and then trolling with the belt with the Lucha Brothers, like, and him beating up Marco Stunt before, and the entire turn, like he's got I think the wrestling world on his ear right now, and the Bucks just, I think it's hard to explain like how I feel about the Bucks this year, because it's like they came in and they literally were the ones, I think, the most that beat themselves down at the beginning, and they had like the furthest climb back to championship status and top star status, and they did nothing but pop numbers, have everyone's best match against them, and win the belts. And by the time they won them, it felt right. It felt like the right decision, is long overdue, and hell of a. And then now, after there is open season, who wants some? And his young dudes, his Top Flight, it's the Acclaimed. I think the Bucks are phenomenal. So I don't know exactly how the voting is going to play out, but strong category.
I feel like this Kenny year is like one of the last like 2 healthy LeBron years, where it's like, it doesn't really matter the situation. Kyrie wants to trade. Tell the front office I'll be here for training camp to try to win another championship. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. This year, bringing Anthony Davis, or last season bringing Anthony Davis, even this year where he's like, let's say Hangman is like in theory the Anthony Davis is like, I got with you. I'm gonna show you the best basketball you've ever experienced, and and like you're great too. But I'm gonna make damn sure that you know, and like we're going to see how great you actually are eventually because of this experience. And like at the end of it, like I'm gonna be very giving. I'm gonna be patient. And I'm a bid my time, but when it's winning time, I am putting the fucking pedal down, and I am going to race to the top to get to where I'm at, and then we're going to see. And like, regardless, like he can do it, he can handle it however he wants to. Like ultimately, like whatever his goal at the time is, he can do pretty much whatever he wants. That's what this kind of year proved. Like, you want to put him in the tag team and get a guy over. He did that to an extent. I'm not giving all the credit to Kenny Omega, because obviously the Hangman's, we already talked about Hangman, but like when it's time,
I don't know if that works as well if it's somebody else in the Kenny Omega role,
right? But like when he got done with that or whatever else, when there was the time to press the button to go, when it was winning time, like he basically like went back to being very similar to the New Japan, the Kenny Omega that we all fell in love with, and look where he is now. Like obviously, I have concerns about this, but like the year's over now. Let's look back. Look at all them. Look at all that greatness we've saw. Like we'll get to whatever is in store for 2021 when it's 2021. But right now, this is a retrospective, and this was an incredible year.
Yeah, and if he happens to take this home, I will make sure to clip this audio to see if it can get used in the entrance.
So at North Carolina or no?
Yeah. After the North Carolina,
isn't it weird that like Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez don't get that like it is the play on the Michael Jordan intro for Chicago Bulls, even though people keep telling them that.
Neither of them watch sports, but yeah, you said people keep telling them that, but they just don't get it. Like
shooting guard at 6'6" from North Carolina, Michael. No. ESPN, it's in all these basic cable packages. Just put it on when you're not doing anything. Just let it play. You might learn something. Anyway,
so we've got the AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. I got 6 nominees on here. Boy, now you talk about a division decimated by anything you can think of, right? Let's see, injury,
COVID jail. People banished from COVID banned. That's what they are.
Just everything
behind the wall, Rich.
Yeah. And then they've got one segment a week most weeks. So I argue that like we have this nominated elsewhere on the list, I believe, for Who Booked This Shit award, I believe. And I argue that maybe they did a good job because you shouldn't be overexposing this shit to to a bigger degree. But so the sixth one we have Hikaru Shida has beaten everybody like a drum this year. Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, who is the NWA champion, signed with AEW, Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, and Anna Jay. So, what do you think about this, James?
So Shida just walked into like Jacksonville, I guess tomorrow because it is Tuesday morning, and be like, who's coming in second for this when she sees the results for this, if she ever gets to it, because like, oh, it's hers. I don't know who the fuck coming in second, third, but she's number one. Moonwalking away in this shit.
So remember Riho last year, how she had like the biggest like percentage win? Like I think it's gonna be even bigger this year for Shida.
Yeah, once Nyla went away, because of concerns about COVID, and also was she in the New York area? She was one of some of the New York people that weren't in
DC.
Okay, so maybe not. But like when she was gone for the Georgia shows, when Britt got her nose busted, and then she hurt her knee and was gone forever, it was like, well, and then Riho couldn't get back into the States, without having a quarantine coming back for 2 weeks. It was a wrap. It was a wrap.
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa might
now you got
second.
Yeah, she might. And I remember at times the ring announcer was forced into action in AEW at a certain point. The chief branding officer forced to suit up to take to the ring. They were literally bringing in women off the street to compete in tournaments.
There was talk of some, semi shoot breaking out, and they still brought the person back. Because that's how dire this situation has gotten.
Yeah. So those are your selections. Yeah. So have fun. So moving on to Stardom's Wrestler of the Year. So we've got Mayu Iwatani, Julia, Tam Nakano, Shuri, Utami, Hayashishita, and then Azumi, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid.
Yeah. I mean, Mayu's winning this shit by far and away.
I was gonna say, is this gonna be as dominant as Hikaru Shida?
I mean, if people were as aware of what's going on, like when we talk about this, we'll get to it later. Like when we did Stardom Wrestler or Match of the Year, like we had to cap Mayu at 4 because like she could have had 6 on here. So and that's not to say that like women that have great years in here, like for example, like they're people like Julia, Shuri, Utami, Momo, like they have a shit ton of, like, we went through the recommended list thing for Momo, and we were like, Jesus Christ, and like, and she's somebody that's not in the top 5 as far as like most push people in the company. Like she is, the 20-year-old person that they bring in to have matches, a couple title matches a year and lose. But yeah, really, really exciting year for the future, with, someone coming in like Shuri, Azumi at 18 or just turned 18 in October, to have the year that she had, where she's, they now trust her to go out there and have title matches in big shows in front of big crowds, and she's delivered. Like the match with Starlight Kid is just 4-star match. The match with another 18-year-old Mei Hoshizuki from Marvelous, who's I think probably like 2 years into wrestling, and it's like, how can you watch this and not think that, like, her in the future, if this goes the way it could go, like, she's not going to be the best women's wrestler in the world. Like, like, think about it. 2001 or 2021 is like her LeBron rookie year in theory. This would be the year she turns 19 and she gets to the league. Like, this would be the year that LeBron gets to the league for her, like, next year. Like, this could be something fucking special in the next, 3-4 years. Like, please just stay for 5 years. Give me 5 fucking years.
I was gonna say, or she could retire next year.
Give me 5 years. I beg of you. It will be incredible. But anyway, yeah, just a lot of great wrestling, a lot of great faction warfare and great tags, and people like this was my favorite promotion in 2020 for the fact that the long form storytelling was on point, and this might have been the most high effort company. Like, there's only one person you can point out and you'd be like, oh yeah, that's not a hard worker. And even they try half the time. But I just love this promotion and love a lot of the wrestling. Like, they were just incredible this year. Anyway, but yeah, who you pick second for this?
Julia.
Okay.
The guys love Julia. She tells you herself. I probably would pick Shuri after that because I'm such a fan. Can't really, I'm sure your Momos are going to get big votes. I think Tam jumping out as a faction leader, I don't know if it's enough to get her in that top 3, but this feels like a Mayu wave. Yeah, the red wave for the red belt.
Yeah. So what's next?
Up next, we got our Hart Austin feud of the year. So we got Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston, Queen's Quest versus Donna Del Mondo, Julia versus Tam Nakano, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, Undisputed Era versus McAfee Goon, Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho, Hangman Page versus The Elite, and Golden Aces versus Dangerous Tekkers. So,
yeah.
Lots of variety. We've got tag team feuds. We've got overarching narratives. We've got one man versus a gang. We've got gang versus gang. We've got a traditional world title program. We've got another traditional world title program with someone who used to be his friend and turned on him. We had 2 people that just fucking hate each other. And then we have more gang warfare and, lots of stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's going to come down to preference. I think I know how I'm going to vote, but it could change. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Like, for as much as this year was a hardship, I feel like, along with the promo stepping out, I feel like we were able to get a lot of, in certain places, a lot of focused program building that, like, paid off in a big way. I'm not saying we need to keep the fucking fans away, because no, we need fans.
We will never advocate for that.
We need fans to get these matches over. But as far as satisfying chapters in people's wrestling careers with another motherfucker they probably hate, this was a pretty good year for that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it's on you guys who you're going to pick on that one. So I really don't have too much more on that one. But up next, of course, we like to, be swaggy. This is one of my favorite awards. The newly named Savage/Banks Best Dressed Ring Gear Award. So Sasha Banks getting her name added to the awards for the rest of time. So just, when you think about that, just tremendous performance, innovation, throughout the years. Felt like, Macho shouldn't be the only one getting the love on that.
Yeah. So, of course, on the list is first nominee Sasha Banks.
Yes, going for another win here. So unlike Jeff Jarrett, who cannot compete in the Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year award, regardless of what he does, Sasha is eligible to compete. So
now, is that arbitrary and unfair? Probably. We don't care. We rock with Sasha. We don't rock with Jeff Jarrett.
We were rewarding black women here. So the next nominee is Bianca Belair.
God damn it, you're an idiot.
hit him with the one, I hit him with the bob, and then I hit him with the bang. You know, like Tyler Bate.
All right, let's go. So
I need to clip that. Then of course, like Bianca is just, you talk about innovation. She makes her own gear. And I'm finding out a lot of people are making their own. There are a lot of self gear makers that are out there now. But I would say Bianca like leads the pack.
A lot of talent out there.
So the Young Bucks on there. They got cut last year. This year I said no, because I just felt like they wore so much dope shit, especially that Lakers joint they came out with for the match against FTR. Britt Baker, just
they came out
solid
Lakers gear, and then they wore some Jordans with it. But go ahead.
Hey. And then you got
where are your Kobe's at, sir?
What's up?
Where are your Kobe's at, sirs?
So I guess they didn't want to wrestle in the low tops. You know, a lot of Kobe's low tops. So up next, Britt Baker. She's just got her own, like, kind of aura with the jackets, and her ringer always looks great. Kenny Omega, when he was not wearing the gray one, which the gray Terminator one, I think everything else that he put on was raw. Like, and he broke out the old Wrestle Kingdom 13 gear at Stadium Stampede, which I loved, and I believe it's like homing, or I'm not sure. Those are that's the label that I always see on all his stuff. Who's been doing his gear? So Cody, kind of like a male Britt Baker in a sense, like just professional, like a star gear. I don't believe we praise Sasha Banks enough. So I'm going to go back to that real quick. But Sasha Banks, I think, had possibly her best year of gear that she's ever had. I remember the July 4th edition, just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I've never seen the American flag and the colors look so beautiful. Yeah, just an incredible year. The jackets that she's had, like the white ones, just, you can't fuck with them. Hiroshi Tanahashi, he had one set of ring gear this year, and it didn't matter. It was great. And then Will Ospreay, he may be canceled in some circles, but he was fly. So at Wrestle Kingdom, when he showed up in that white, and I believe it was purple, if I'm not mistaken.
White, purple, orange, and black. He's basically dressed like a Phoenix Sun.
Yeah. That shit was, like, incredible.
Yes.
There.
Did you ever see the black version of that?
I did not.
It's not as good as the white, but it's also incredible.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir?
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Who are you texting?
My therapist.
You text with your therapist?
Text, video chat, call. Yep.
That sounds too easy. How did you find her?
I just went to betterhelp.com/save. She's a licensed therapist and it's all online. I connect when it's convenient for me and don't waste time driving anywhere. Plus, it's affordable.
I wonder if I should try it.
It's great to talk to someone in confidence. She's helped me sort out quite a few things. And right now you save 10% off the first month when you go through betterhelp.com/save.
Betterhelp.com/save. Got it.
Yeah, it's just, and then he had his the gear he wore at G1, and it's just like, nah, man, like, that's nominated. It's getting nominated. It's getting nominated. It just is. He showed up with a fucking tiger on his shoulder. A tiger head on his shoulder on his jacket. Like, it was look.
So he swapped out the sword and like, sent that to Drew McIntyre.
I think he had the sword, too.
And, like, broke out the tiger. Did he bring the sword with him?
I think he had the sword with the tiger head. I'm sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did. Either way, dressed incredibly well. Questionable human being. We'll see.
Yeah. motherfuckers looking like stars up and down this damn category. So you dress the part. And for me, like looking through this, like, I feel like we got the real best of the best here, because a lot of the year, I didn't think this year was particularly like they didn't.
Everybody's wearing
really
black.
Achieve. Yeah, a lot of people wearing black. I think Gargano took a step back. He's normally here on this list.
Yep. Tam got too cute with her gear. Like her black and white deal used to be Raw, but yeah, I mean it's fine what she's wearing. But
yeah, so maybe someone you might want to argue for is Rhea Ripley, but she's wearing black most of the time. It's just
like
her WrestleMania gear was really good.
Yes.
But
yes, yes, it was. Yes, it was. That was a great look. Yeah, I mean there are people that we could have nominated, but it is what it is. Like I feel like it's a good representation of the best ring gears that are on the four promotions we watch regularly. Yeah.
Yeah. So up next, we've got the Put 'em in a Coffin award, another classic award for One Nation Radio. The wrestler that needs to start completely over or go away. Up first, Evil Watanabe. Dexter Lumis, The Undertaker, Velveteen Dream, The Fiend, Natsuko Tora, Jeff Hardy, and Nia Jax. What a category. The Undertaker has previously won this award. I didn't know you could win this award again.
That's not true.
Or did Corbin win it multiple years?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Because Undertaker won in 2018.
Okay, so if he won in 2018...
Shout out to Baron Corbin for getting off of this list.
That's only because of lack of usage. That's only because his minutes got cut. Like, they were like, he's not going to win it. How are we going to do that? Well, we got to take him off the floor. We got to take him off the floor. So he just...
so he's like Kendrick Perkins. Like, they finally figured out, like, I mean, that's a black hole. Y'all playing 4-on-5 on offense.
Why does the 5-man plus minus always have negative on it? Well, why come every 5-man unit that he's on is our worst units? Oh, maybe you take him off the floor. Yeah, that's a... Yeah, they got rid of Corbin. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that like Roman decided to extricate himself from that situation and say, I'm not taking this shit to WrestleMania. I'm good. I'm not taking this shit to after WrestleMania with him as champion in the championship feud. That's fucking dumb. I'm leaving. I will come back. When I come back, I'm turning heel. Fuck this. And so, yeah, I think a lot of that like was for the best. Like Roman Reigns may have saved a lot more than just himself by doing that. He also saved some of the viewers the hassle having to watch Baron Corbin in top matches. Appreciate you, Tribal Chief. Appreciate you. There's a lot of trash out here.
Category,
Velveteen Dream of Sex Pest. Undertaker having a midlife crisis for like the last decade. Natsuko Tora being evil, but not pushed that well, but still but it's still just as bad or still feels just as bad because like they don't do DQs and fucking Stardom until they start doing this shit with her. Like I think Stardom had maybe like 3 DQs in the last before she started this shit in the summer. Might have had like 3 DQs in the last 3 years, and then now all of a sudden every other fucking match is a DQ, and it's not like got caught cheating. It's literally like we wrestle for like 12 minutes like a regular match, and all of a sudden I grab a fucking chain, wrap you around while the ref is taking, throw you over there, hang you, ref turns around, sees it, take the L. Even in fucking tournament matches where it counts for points, she does this shit. Fuck off. So there's a lot of just trash out there. Loomis helping ruin fucking NXT, the thing I love. Fuck this.
Jeff Hardy just completely from of another time. It seems like
leave the promotion or leave the business. Either do something to save your soul. Like I'm not saying he should retire. I think he should go somewhere else and wrestle. But I mean, it can't be WWE because all they keep doing is try to recycle another way to remind you that Jeff Hardy was an alcoholic.
Evil Watanabe just dragging the main event scene in New Japan to unthought of lows, like making you appreciate Jay White of all things. Like, what kind of power is that? Like, that's just single-handedly derailing Tetsuya Naito just, in every way.
New Japan Pro Wrestling is like really the only promotion that I romanticize. Don't really do that as much now. That kind of got ruined because of this. Thanks.
Nia Jax constantly hurting people, constantly just always in something, and it ain't never good.
Yeah.
And they never ask her to get better. They never, ease up on the opportunities. Nothing. Just, here. And then, The Fiend was literally burnt and just has pitched some of the weirdest, wackiest television changing big match bad ideas that you can ever come up with. And man, how many times did a Fiend match end with murder this year, James?
Drown Strowman, he got set on fire by Orton apparently. Did John Cena die at WrestleMania?
John Cena's like trapped in a vortex somewhere. I don't know like where he is.
Okay, did he when he won the title? No, I'm sorry. That was the Saudi Arabia show last year when he won the belt.
He lost it at this year's.
Yeah, he lost it at this year's in Saudi Arabia because Goldberg was like, "I'm not doing that. That's fucking stupid," and rightfully so. Bury it. Just awful television. Not to say like it's all off, because there's also some good television value in that, and some real thought put into some of the stuff he does. But for the most part, it's just nonsense.
They got Alexa Bliss out here. They got Alexa Bliss out here being presented as a child. Like, right. What the fuck? Like,
hey, Rich.
Pedo shit.
So should
I ain't with none of this.
So, Rich, should we take a victory lap on what we were saying about why people loved Alexa Bliss so much back in 2017?
We really should.
Because we were all saying that y'all want to fuck this woman that looks like a child. So y'all are selling for this. So y'all selling for this mediocre fucking wrestling.
Yeah. Check the vault. Alexa Bliss rant is on YouTube. It has gone off and always rung off forever.
I don't think that part was mentioned in it, and I don't think we ever really described it in that way. But the thing for me was like, why are so many of y'all going up for her this high when she is only giving y'all when she has given y'all so little to go up for? And it's like, what other reason could there possibly be?
Yeah, it's process of elimination on that one.
And it's like, so am I going to trust dudes and not be fucking weirdos? No, of course they're weirdos. That's what the case is. And then sure enough, this man shows you the reason why he pushed her this way by saying, well, let's do a romance with a monster, transition to an actual person that's dressed like a monster, and then have her dressed like a little girl because she's tiny. Great.
And then we'll have her on a literal swing set. Like, what? So up next, so a tough choice for that. Put him in the Coffin Award. That's going to be very interesting. I want to see it. Are people are they cool with the evil stuff? Because sometimes this stuff doesn't work out the way we think. Will the Fiend get votes? Will the Undertaker take it home again? Will the Nia Jax hate train come out to party? So lots of options there. Will Natsuko Tora steal any votes?
Well, look. I don't know about anybody else, but I know who my two picks, who my number one, number two will be, and they are both Japanese. And to let you know, just to let you know what they have done to me this year and how much I did not appreciate it at all. So there you go.
All right, so we've got the Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year Award. So this is one of the signature awards of One Nation Radio. I've always enjoyed figuring out who are the elite level workers, and I'm not talking about in the ring. I'm talking about making that money, getting yourself into a bigger spot like that, and slapping someone's head to do so, and just figuring out ways to work the workers and get paid ultimately. So we've got 8 nominees here. So first we got Don Callis aligns with Kenny Omega and ushers in Impact AEW partnership. Roman Reigns turns down Universal title, leaves for 5 months, turns, and still gets the title.
Well, when you put it like that.
Yep. Goldberg turns one single rating into the Universal Championship. Finn Balor big leagues NXT. The Good Brothers pick the greatest friends in the world. Bruce Pritchard lies and scams his way to running Raw and SmackDown.
Should we change that to lies and scams to lies, scams, and ass kisses? Or is that too personal?
I think
is that going too far?
That'd be
okay.
Too,
all right, we know what it is. That man out there going on that fucking show to fucking lie.
Yep. Edge tells Vince McMahon about Edge tells Vince McMahon about AEW and gets a 3-year deal. Rey Mysterio gets his whole family paid. So, the incredible thing, I told James this as we were cutting it down, the incredible thing about Rey there was when he was re-signing, it seemed like the defining factor was he has to get Dominic into, whatever he's going to do. Like, I don't know what he what about AEW shows y'all that they would not have put Rey's entire family on television? Cause I see the fucking Gun Club, I see all the fucking Rhodeses, I see Taz and his son on there, I see fucking everyone like that. Like, you got a family, oh yeah, they doing all that, nepotism. Let's run it.
I think it also is the part where it's like you don't know what you're in for when it comes to Tony Khan, but Rey Mysterio knows that, like, Vince McMahon knows who Rey Mysterio is, which means that, like, he's known him for, like, over 15 years, which means, like, he's more likely going to acquiesce to the wants and needs of Rey Mysterio Jr. than someone like a Tony Khan has, especially when it comes at the cost of, like, somebody else, some NXT call up. Do I want to get him a squash match, or do I want to give some time to Rey Mysterio? Oh, Rey, go out there, Rey. Whatever you want, Ray. Like, I feel like Vince at this point, to given the way he books, is like every time there's somebody that he booked like a decade ago to even above a mid card slot, like he like treats him like better than Shane.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, remember how good we used to be? Remember how good this used to be? Remember how we used to go out there and we had crowds and it was loud all the time? And then I got these fucking guys, not grabbing the brass ring, these millennials, these young kids that are 35 years old.
Doing flips. So
they care too much. They care too much.
Loaded category here. It all depends which way you want to go. Do you want to go with the big dog, like essentially grabbing Vince McMahon's neck for his career? Don Callis just like talking himself into just everything, being a phenomenal performer and turning to friendship and mentorship with Kenny into like all this advertising for Impact, and bro, like that's, for me, like that's got to be my number one. Like that's insane to think that could have happened 12 months ago.
Oh my god, we forgot one. AEW runs Dynamite in Jacksonville after WWE pays the Super PAC money. We forgot about that. That should be on here. I can't believe we forgot that. I know what do we drop? We got to drop something off here for that.
Oh man, live production meeting. Okay, yeah, so let's go over it one more time again. I think we can drop Finn Balor, Big League, and NXT off.
Yeah. Whatever.
AEW Dynamite after WWE, yes, pays Super PAC,
pays Trump, or pays millions to Trump Super PAC, or donates to Trump Super PAC,
and they lost.
Yes. Yes. Like they would still be in like Georgia or some shit. In a small ass little room.
Yes. In Florida, after WWE pays or donates to Trump Super PAC. That is true finessing right there.
Because I remember when it happened, it was like, yo, that's gonna win, and then like we just forgot. Damn, how did I forget that? It's crazy. Yeah. We may. That's gonna place. That's gonna place.
That is incredible thinking, James. Yeah, what a category. The Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year award continues to rank high in excellence, just in a way Jeff Jarrett himself never did. So, yeah. Future owner of WWE, Jeff Jarrett, still, you know. Up next, so we've merged an award this year.
He said future owner WWF, and you know what I thought of? You know what I thought of was like, well, if he's not too busy running for president. Oh my god.
Okay. The Die Rocky Die who booked this shit Failure of the Year award.
Yeah.
So we had worst long term direction, and then also Die Rocky Die, or we had 2 awards that we made one this year.
Yeah.
Number 1, Evil as the main event IWGP IC double champion. Keith Lee in the 2020 call-ups, dead on arrival on the main roster. The FTR Bucks build. Kota Ibushi loses Wrestle Kingdom briefcase. Charlotte torpedoes NXT. NXT's constant hot-shotting. AEW's women's division. Lana and Bobby Lashley's wedding. Yo. Get all this shit the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Lots of bad stuff. I don't know, man. Just have we talked about Charlotte on the show?
We have not. And Charlotte torpedoes NXT as an appropriate description because she murdered their like 3 top acts or something like that. Like she fucked Shayna in a Rumble. She got Bianca. She made Bianca Belair into like a third wheel, kind of a joke, and then she finished the job at WrestleMania with Rhea Ripley, and then left the territory after doing TV matches, never popping ratings, and not being pinned to lose the belt, and then came back and immediately got a title.
Yeah, they brought her there to try to boost the rating. And the only thing that anyone got out of it was Charlotte got to wrestle some good wrestlers, so she had some good ass matches, and then she fucked off because she got injured, which is no fault of her own, but she fucked off, and now she's back. And like, look at NXT, like the NXT Women's Division once she left got better, which is like yeah, kind of. As people stepped up, they brought in Ember, and they brought back Ember. They brought in Toni Storm. Finally pressed that fucking button. But she had interactions with 3 of the 4 top women at NXT at the time, and she helped. And she didn't help get over. In fact, hurt 3 of them, and the only one that she didn't really hurt was the only one that didn't have to have a singles match with her, that had to go to a real finish. Thank God she decided to pull out the kendo stick, and then Rhea came out, and then they went to a schmoz to get out of that one, because just really depressing.
And she was sticking around.
Yeah, shoot a BDO. Yeah, made her tap out to the figure 8. Definitely. Yeah.
I think Kota Ibushi losing the briefcase to set up a second hastily made double gold dash situation fucking sucks.
Well, you just got to do that because you got to try to get as many people as possible. Oh wait, there's a wait, you could have put any fucking thing out there with Wrestle Kingdom on the name, and it would have got 10,000 people to come to the fucking Tokyo Dome either. Never mind.
Yeah. It's just anytime you gotta cut a guy's legs off, you gotta do it. No
agency, no nothing. When he gets that belt, he just gets it.
Yep. he just wins it, and then you're like, was it all worth it? Well, I don't know, because
well, they won't. The whole plan is, well, they won't remember 5 years from now, and it's like, bro, like there are other promotions that do that, and you don't want to do what those little promotions do. Yep. You don't.
Yep. Trying to warn you these pitfalls.
Never mind. Never sweat the details. No, you need to sweat them. Very much so.
This essentially boils down to Keith Lee and Retribution on the main roster. Keith Lee, they didn't know how they wanted that man to wrestle. They didn't know what music he wanted to come out to. They didn't know what they wanted him to wear. Like it just was all fucked up.
They didn't know what they wanted to do with him from a roster positioning standpoint either. Is he a next main eventer? Is he aspiring to be that? Is he upper mid carder? Is he someone that should be Is he someone that should just not lose? Should we push him? No idea. He's just there.
Yep. Hanging out. Trying to make sure they up on a roster because them contracts is coming due. We figured out their pattern. And then Evil. I think we've already went over Evil. It sucked. So the AEW Women's Division, we talked about that with the injuries, the COVID, but yeah.
That shit was real light. That shit was real light.
It was, I am Hikaru Shida, and this is the AEW Women's Division. Like,
how big of a hug do you, bro? Okay, so I'm not necessarily. I don't think they're like necessarily like the best of friends or anything like that. But like, how big of a fucking hug do you think Shida's gonna give Riho when she shows back the fuck up? Feel like. Do you think she cries? Like, finally, somebody can help me carry this load.
Maybe
it's been such a hard road. No, it's been such a hard road.
Yeah, man. And then the wedding, Lana and Bobby Lashley.
Oh my fucking god! This might be the single worst thing I watched in wrestling in the last 2 years or year and a half. Just. It's not that it was just like Rusev's in the fucking cake and you have a fake lesbian come out of here for no reason and that the ex-husband and the lesbian.
Hold on, I gotta check my notes and see if that made Liv Morgan a main eventer. 1 second. It did not.
Did they make Lashley a main eventer?
It did not.
Yeah. Just horrendous. Rusev's in a different fucking company now. Lana, they got Lana. After doing all this stupid shit with her, they got Lana crying in front of their cameras, talking about the abuse that she has gotten from shitty fans and on Twitter, and it's like those people are assholes. You know who are also assholes? People that put you in these shitty situations on TV that make people then also resent you, which is their fault that they can't control their own fucking feelings as other adults and human beings have no empathy for realizing this is fake and these people are actors. But also, like, your employer that puts you in these shitty situations and then, like basically exploit your grief to get a viewership, to try to get some sympathy based off of the stupid storyline they gave you. It's a feedback loop of bullshit. And I feel bad for everyone involved with that nonsense. That wasn't wrestling. That was barely even fucking television. It wasn't good television either.
Yeah, car crash. Just an unmitigated disaster. It was hastily made for a ratings grab because weddings always work. This was done at a time where they were free falling in ratings. And I think that every single person was weaker for being involved with it. It has led Lana to looking terrible in the lead up to it, and then in the fallout now, it makes it that much harder for her to be taken seriously as a wrestler. Bobby Lashley completely moved away from this, and thank you. He's in something serious like the Hurt Business now, and Rusev ended up in another company where he's about to get over it all over again. So yeah, who booked this shit? All this shit. Die Rocky Die, all that shit for all this shit. The FTR and Bucks bill. We talked about that in the FOA's draft. Yeah,
and the one part we keep forgetting, right? The perfect detail of it is like at the end of it, they give out the stip that if we don't win it, we will never challenge for it again, which is like, you did this with Cody at the exact same pay-per-view a year ago. We know you're not doing it again. We know it's time for you to win the belts. So you telegraph that you're going to win the title. So that also kills the suspense for it as well. Great. Because we know you're not going to have the fucking Young Bucks not challenge for the titles anymore. It was stupid when you did it with Cody. You see what happened to Cody a year away from that as far as how over he is. And it didn't help. And we know you're not going to do it. So thanks. You also gave us a way to finish to your fucking match.
Yeah, who booked all this shit? Die Rocky Die. So up next, we've got the gimmick of the year, the best vehicle to get over. So we've got 6 things on this one. Notoriously, with COVID and no fans, it's more difficult to get things over because there's not that immediate reception in the building to these things. So all this has had to move slower. So there's things that really stood out here. 1, super physical wrestling matches. Cody Rhodes TNT Open Challenge, being the elite. Hangman Page drinks beer. Ladder matches in WWE, and AEW hands Britt Baker the mic. So lots of different kind of things here. You talking about just a fighting champion gimmick, physicality in wrestling being turned up to all Japanian levels, like Noah levels, and lots of slapping and just hyper physical wrestling, like some stuff that's just like, or I've watched with people and be like, why are they doing this to each other? Like, you don't have to do this. And it was them trying to kind of crack the code of empty arena wrestling. Yeah. I feel like so being the elite, like the whole Dark Order, like essentially got rebuilt this year. Anything of course that comes on being elite and gets over, it tends to like go a long way with the audience. It continues to be a star creating machine. Like, you can just literally plug someone in. It's like a Young Bucks match. Hey, if you come in here and you just play this role, like we'll get you to critical acclaim. Heyman Page drinking beer, because no matter how many times he was a fuck nigga, if he drank beer, everyone loved it. Ladder matches in WWE, that was something the company leaned on to either produce ratings, to get multiple people in matches, to do exciting things. It's crazy that they did all of these in like empty arena settings. So they leaned on this pretty hard this year. And AEW handed Britt Baker the mic. Britt essentially like decided to become a star from the second they handed her the mic, and it was going to work. It was like she was on the cruise. I remember that first week, everyone was trying to bury her, and I was like, no, bro, she's got it. It's going to work. And then she's like dumping Utah on their head, dumping Texas on their heads. Yep. And then like now she has her own talking show on Dark.
She changed her career. She changed her career trajectory. I couldn't get that out, but that's what she changed. She looked like somebody that is like, oh, they're pushing her and it's not going to work, to, oh yeah, she's easy to like because she's fucking great on the mic. And she's witty and she just knows how to needle the hell out of people. And it's like, how the hell? It was like the quickest like 0 to 60 out of nowhere, because we had no idea she could do that. And then like, whoa, what? Yeah. So,
yeah. So what do you think about this category, James?
Yeah, lots of good things. Lots of things that are specific to the time we were in and the era that this has brought upon us with, the physical matches and, being the elite in the way we consume wrestling now. Like, we got to find ways, that are more direct to consumer in a way, right? So, yeah.
Yep. Up next, we got the WWE Match of the Year. So, quite a full category here. We got 8 matches. We got Walter versus Ilya Dragunov in NXT UK. We got Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly from NXT TakeOver. NXT Men's War Games match. Undisputed Era versus Broserweights for the tag titles. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at TLC. Sasha Banks versus Bayley at Hell in a Cell. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship Finals.
Yeah, that was a SmackDown episode, like at the beginning of the year. I can't remember what month though. I'll find it.
in Jordan Devlin versus Tyler Bate from NXT UK in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Great category. Anywhere you look, there's a lot of these matches are very physical, as you can see. Like the Walter and Ilya Dragunov, Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly stuff. Jordan Devlin and Tyler Bates, kind of like your traditional, just try to blow the doors off type match.
Yep. War Games, super physical. Like they almost took out a fucking eye.
Yeah. And some matches that are getting great reviews, like Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns. I enjoyed that match a lot. Sasha Banks and Bayley, not my personal favorite match, but also
they
getting
beat the piss out of each other.
Yeah, they fucked each other up. And Bryan and Styles, from the second it happened, it was very high on all the review sites, and was one of the early matches where it's like, oh shit, it isn't impossible to do great wrestling in this arena. Because like when it first happened, it was like, man, what are people gonna do? Like all this shit gonna suck. Like, and then slowly, the best wrestlers, as they always do, start figuring the shit out.
And they figured it out quick, which is like, I don't know whenever those two, do hang it up, but I'm gonna miss them. Like, even though I don't watch the main roster the way I used to, like, I just like the fact that like when they get the opportunity, they're gonna have great matches, like and it just like whenever I find out that it's happened, I'll tune in if I get the time to do such a thing. Like, it's comforting to know that like these guys still give a fuck and still try hard. Like that's for the whole main roster. It's like I don't watch anymore, but like it is comforting to know that like these people all still want to try and have the best match they can. It's just up to some other fucking guy that's out of his mind.
No doubt, man. So big category there. So up next we got the AEW match of the year. So up first we got Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. The AEW tag titles at Revolution. Kenny Omega versus Pac, and Kansas City Dynamite Iron Man match. Best Friends versus Proud and Powerful. Parking lot brawl. Famously got 5 stars from Dave. Bucks versus FTR at Full Gear. One of the more critically acclaimed matches that there's been. Everyone wanted it for years and years and years. Up next, FTR and the Bucks versus Pentagon, Ray Phoenix, Butcher and Blade. That crazy ass 8-man tag they had on Dynamite, Canadian Destroyers over the top rope to the outside of the ring. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
I'm still tripping over the spot with Phoenix and Nick Jackson, where they just like, what the fuck are you doing top rope? I don't even remember. Like, it's just like jump, Hurricane. Like, yeah, okay, you guys are out of your minds. Just.
Yep. John Moxley versus Brodie Lee at Double or Nothing. Brutal physical war ends in a chokeout. Brodie Lee famously DDT through the stage.
Yes. Environmental offense.
Match. Yes. Environmental offense. Yes. Use what's around you.
That was way better than a fake heater.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes versus Wardlow. Well, I mean, come on, man. That heater could have burnt Kenny to a crisp, like the Fiend, if he lands the wrong way on it. But Cody Rhodes versus Wardlow from Atlanta Dynamite, possibly the best show of the year. Just if everything in a vacuum, like you'll never see a hotter arena. And that match, it was a special night. Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page, AEW Full Gear, finals of the T1, the Tony Cup, and Kenny Omega wins that to get his shot at John Moxley. So another big category here. So
yeah. I already know what's going to be my 1 and 2. I'm debating on whether I'm going to go with what my favorite match was versus what was the best match, but I know my top 2 are regardless.
Yeah, I put the Kenny Omega cap in effect here. There's no like similar to the Mayu Iwatani one. It was like they're going to split votes across all these categories and try to open it up for other matches that were great as well. So moving on, we've got the New Japan match of the year. So we've got this down to also 8 matches. So we've got Will Ospreay versus Hiromu Takahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 14. Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom 14. I'm going to say it again because it's been forgotten. Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom 14. Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito at Wrestle Kingdom 14. Tetsuya Naito versus Hiroshi Tanahashi in the G1. Kazuchika Okada versus Shingo Takagi. Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado, Best Super Junior Finals. Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi, New Japan Road. And Tomohiro Ishii versus Kota Ibushi in the G1.
Yeah. Incredible matches. Like matches that are so like make it. It's weird that we're not weird, but like it's right, but like we're down on New Japan this year because of the storytelling and the roster positioning for some of their future stars, for them trying to make new stars, because we feel like that it's people you're picking or one person in particular picking. We just think that dog will never hunt, but. You still look through like their the matches, and you see the G1, and you look at some of the best stuff from New Japan Cup, and you're just like, this is still the best work rate promotion in the world, and it's still not particularly close, but and this is where they shine. So for all the stuff where we've given grief to Gato and Evil and Naito this year, Naito still has 2 matches on here, and for much as people want to talk about Okada had a down year. Okada still has 2 or 3 matches on here, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there are some things where it's not to the level that it was, in years prior, that made us fall in love with it. But it's still it's still the best if you talk about clang to clang. So, yeah, Ishii just. Like what? Like it was so weird that this is the match we chose for Ishii when I was still like debating for like 5 minutes over like which of like 6 different matches I'm gonna put in here for the Ishii match. So yeah, just killer stuff. Like the fact that like Kota Ibushi and Suzuki didn't make it on here is like that's kind of year they've had. Like the fact that like the
Ibushi made it on here.
Ibushi versus
made it on here.
No, Ibushi versus Suzuki didn't make it.
Oh, okay, yeah, my fault.
Yeah, and then like you look at stuff like in my opinion, the best match I saw at the time, up to that time, like in this COVID era, was Sho versus Shingo, their second match, and it's like that match was fucking incredible. It didn't make it. I don't think we discussed it. Like they had a killer year.
Yeah.
Just really great stuff. I know what my number 1 and 2 is. Well, I'll figure what my third place is at, but we'll see.
I know what's not my number 1. The Stardom match of the year category. So this is like the Mayu Iwatani Invitational. So we had to cut her off at 4 on this one. As I mentioned earlier. So we've got Mayu Iwatani versus Kagetsu from December 24th, 2019. Mayu Iwatani versus Takumi Iroha, February 8th, 2020. Mayu Iwatani versus Takumi Iroha, October 18th, 2020. Mayu Iwatani and Kagetsu versus Momo Watanabe and Jungle Kiona, January 26th, 2020. Queen's Quest versus Donna Del Mondo, July 24th, 2020. Julia versus Tam Nakano, October 3rd, 2020. Utami versus Momo Watanabe, December 20th, 2020. And Azumi versus Starlight Kid, October 3rd, 2020.
Yeah, it's another thing where like I'm trying to whittle this down and I just got overloaded like once, because I'm like, all right, like there are like 4 Mayu matches I could also throw in here, but there's also like other stuff that should get a look. And quite frankly, like there's only 1 Grand Prix match on here, and there's a shit ton of like 4 or 4.25 star matches that they had in here. They were like, these matches are like 13 minutes long, 9 minutes long that should have got a look. Like it is really tough. They kicked it into high gear. Like when the time they did the restart, like I thought they were the best promotion in the world in July. Like that's how good their wrestling was, and that's before they even had. And that was like the month before they got to the Grand Prix, and they were Grand Prix. Like, Yeah. For me, I know my top 3 matches are. I'm sure you can already guess what they were. Like I
could probably figure them out.
Yeah, Mai Takumi, Tam Julia. Like like those are the 3. But but there's a lot of stuff to that's not worth that you shouldn't look over in this. I thought they had a great array. These 8 are a great 8 matches.
Then up next, or some of the stuff that I like, I definitely enjoyed the Mayu Iwatani Takumi Roha series. I hope Takumi Roha comes back from the ACL injury and can get back into it, because she's one of my favorites. The Queen's Quest and Donna Del Mondo match from July 24th.
Yep.
That it was an 8-woman tag, hell of a match, one of the best matches of the year. Beat the fuck out of each other. I had no idea the finish was going to be what it was. Didn't take away from the match for me at all. And there's a really insane Shuri and Momo Watanabe match. And I just recently learned that match finally will be taking place. So what was stolen from me will be given back to me. When is that match, James?
I think that's the... okay, so they have 3 shows in New Year. So that's Jan 1st, Jan 1st, Jan 3rd, Jan 4. I think it's Jan 3rd.
Okay.
So. It's either Jan 3rd or Jan 4. I can't remember.
Gotcha.
It's the main event for her,
though. Julia and Tam beat they hate each other. Good old fashioned hate.
Yeah.
So
this is we'll talk about it later, but it is I truly enjoyed their hate for each other. I thought this was the best versions of their first 2 matches, where one was just it had all of this story arc and this spirit to it, and then the second one was just a flat out sprint of brutality, and they figure out a way to marry both of them in the third one, and I don't think they're done, but if they are, they one day will be able to kick their feet up and be like, look what we did, with all these faction tags, with all these tag matches or special tag matches, with 3 matches that we had. We put together an impressive fucking resume of matches in a short period of time. Really the span of from the end of June to basically October 3rd. Where they just that's it. I don't think there's 2 more people I'm more convinced hate each other's fucking guts than those 2. I just don't. Not in wrestling, not right now. Not it didn't involve some turn that we're friends. You were my best friend at my wedding, and then you turn your back on me. Well, now I'm talking about Gargano and Ciampa. You my point.
Oh man,
the hate is real. The hate is real. Yeah. It feels real anyway.
Shit, we should have put Gargano and Ciampa on who booked this shit.
Oh God.
Okay. Pay-per-view of the year. So 8 big shows on this. Wrestle Kingdom's Night 1 and 2, AEW Revolution, AEW Full Gear, WWE TLC, NXT TakeOver Portland, the Stardom Yokohama Cinderella Show, October 3rd, and NXT TakeOver 31. A lot of these came after fans were no longer allowed in the arenas. Yeah. We've got 3 shows that were there before. Or 4 shows, excuse me. So about half the list was pre-COVID. After, is the same amount. So that's kind of interesting in itself.
Until you
wonder how this one's go.
Until you remember this, the non-COVID wrestling was only 2 months of the year. So it's
True.
These crowds, they make a fucking difference. Regardless of how good this wrestling is, it could have been better had there been crowds to watch it and lose their minds over it.
Yeah. I think the roof comes off if there are crowds at any of these shows that were in the COVID ones.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you think this one's gonna go, man? Because I know last year you were very upset at AEW All Out placing.
All Out? Yeah, because it placed over Takeover 25 and Takeover New York, which is like, I mean, we're talking about two of the great pay-per-views of all time. And like Double or Nothing was, that's definitely one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. But like the other one, nah. I think, okay, so what is the one with Double or Nothing this year is the one that has the Stadium Stampede, right?
Yeah, and that one got cut.
Okay. I don't know, like, I feel like this is up to a lot of people's opinions, right? Like if you want to go for, I'm gonna say straight flat out. If you pick night one of New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom 13 or 14, it's because you think like the two big matches on there are like two of the greatest matches you ever seen. Which that's my opinion. I don't know if I'd vote for it yet or whatever else. You pick night two, you're probably picking a deeper card, but it also has some moment of Naito becoming champion, which you can't take lightly. Portland was just another one of those like 25 New York type things where it's like, this is we didn't know that at the time, but it's the end of an era basically because of COVID, and like they're going to throw at you like the last Lee and Dijak match where they do every fucking thing they can, the Broserweight match, the Rhea and Bianca match, the Ciampa match where he does all the spots, the Thornton Undisputed that Gargano does. We finally get the Gargano in Balor match. Like, they threw everything at you.
Solid as fuck, Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox match.
Yes. Which is sneaky good. And then you look at Revolution. Revolution has what it has. It has freaking, one of the greatest tag matches of all time. It has the culmination of this incredible run of television between Jericho and Moxley in their circle. It has Pac versus Orange Cassidy in one of those like unlikeliest to the one of the surprise smash successes of the year. You had no idea that was coming, and it came. You have, if I remember correctly, you also have the Darby versus Guevara match on there as well. Yeah, just a great.
And you have night. You have a feeling in pro wrestling that night that is like almost unrivaled, like how it felt that night watching that show. Like that shit was like that arena. That shit was a congregation. Like that arena, and they brought in the choir.
Yeah, for this new promotion that features two WWE guys, it felt like by the end of the night when Moxley's on that belt, you're like, this is its own thing. It has a separate lineage, it has its own history. We will look back on this years from now and say like this was a part of something new, different, exciting, whatever whatever you want to describe it as. But this isn't just, TNA bringing in some fucking guys that used to work WWE and treat them like, and at the detriment to the other guys they could establish on and to make their own footpath. Like they are a part of this as opposed to just people trying to, make a buck because they don't want to fuck with Vince right now. So yeah. Takeover 31 is on that list. Takeover 31, just like, oh my god, I can't believe they can still do this. I thought they couldn't do this anymore. Basically, I didn't know they could make me feel this way after watching this shit TV for hot shotting and doing Great American Bashes and shit to go against Fight for the Fallen. So there's that. Yokohama Cinderella is like, for Stardom, it's just like, It was like we started covering Stardom probably the fall, probably after the WrestleMania show that we saw in New York, right? And like the watch them go through where they've gone through, bringing new people, like the constant change over, through fate or through people, things run its natural course. Like things change, and like to get them to have this show that they were trying to get off the ground for April, and then, you know, pandemic starts and they have to build it up, and they built it up literally from June all the way to that, with that, you know, in the semi-main event, to have the match with Mayu, another great match, to have Starlight Kid and Azumi, you know, they're two young prodigies, have that moment in the opener. Like, it was a great card to do the, you know, the turn where Konami and turns on Jungle, and you know, you kind of sad because like, damn, what could have been, like, they probably would have had some great match at year end or whatever else, but didn't happen. Or maybe even Osaka, but whatever, it didn't happen. But it was a great show, great wrestling. There was not one bad match on that card. Every single match was good at the very least. It seemed like people loved it, and it had the killer matches at the top at the end to take you home. Just like, yeah, this was one of the best shows of the year, bar none. Like, put it up against anything. So yeah, am I forgetting anything?
TLC was
speak on that.
Like TLC was an awesome show, and it seems like the WWE format this year has gone to reclaiming I hate to say this, but reclaiming the time. So like, instead of a 4-hour show, they've cut it to like 6 matches, really zoned in on what they were trying to accomplish. And in TLC, it kind of just all came together. Even something as goofy as the Fiend getting set on fire, like, the match was enjoyable before that happened. I would still recommend it. Okay. Just for the spectacle of it and everything. But Reigns and Owens is legitimately awesome. Sasha Banks and Carmella, sneakily good at a level higher than the Dakota Kai Tegan Nox match was. Best match of Carmella's career for sure. Sasha is like Ric Flair carrying somebody. Fucking the Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles have a nice ladder match. Of course, Drew McIntyre is fighting off like a million people, still ends up winning there. I thought it was like a show where WWE like pulls his head out his ass and then gets people to be like, okay, and then
right before WrestleMania season,
right before they fuck you. So Full Gear, incredible show top to bottom, like just great matches everywhere. People working very hard in an empty arena. They've started opening up more seats in Jacksonville. So they got a little bit of a crowd there in there to kind of fuck with them, and you know, so it's still, you know, it's not the same, it's not going to be, but this is you know, you look at the review sites, this is like right behind Double or Nothing, so it's very highly regarded.
Where was the Matt Hardy smacking his head on the concrete? Was that at Full Gear too?
No, that was at All Out.
That's right. All right, I was like, okay. Yeah, like, you know, the Moxley main event, the FTR versus Young Bucks match, regardless of, you know, whether you think it's one of the great matches of our time or if you think it's just a great match, it's still a great match. Kenny and Hangman having a match still was like, they had a great match. It was extremely well paced, and it was done in that way to let you know that, like, eventually there will be a rematch, and it will be better than this 4.5-star match you saw. So yeah,
it left 5 stars on the table.
Yeah. So just
Silver and Cassidy.
That's right.
Also, Cody dropping the TNT title to Darby Allin. So like, just tons of shit on that show. So. Besides that, you know, we'll go to our moment of the year. So 8 as well. You see, that's our magic number. Tetsuya Naito wins the double titles. Jon Moxley defeats Chris Jericho for the AEW championship. Keith Lee wins the NXT championship. MJF and Wardlow whoop Cody. Kenny Omega turns on Jon Moxley to win the AEW title. Brodie Lee squashes Cody for the TNT title. Drew McIntyre's Royal Rumble win, and Evil turns on Tetsuya Naito.
Yeah. All comes down to preference. All comes down to what you watch the most. All undeniably great moments of television, pay-per-view, wrestling, whatever you want to call it. All of them.
Yeah, just there's a trend here. So like, let's see, half of this is AEW. Two of these are New Japan. One is NXT. One's the main roster. As I said to James in the cut down portion, it seems like AEW set themselves up to have these moments. Like, the work they were doing, the moments just kind of fell into place. So a Royal Rumble win's always going to be there. You always have a chance to do that. The Evil and Nice thing, you know, they set that up kind of along the way as well. Of course, Naito, everybody knows the long road he took to beating Okada in the Dome. Moxley going through the Inner Circle like it's a fucking karate movie, and going against Jericho at the end, the final boss, the final master or whatever. So whatever you want. Keith Lee holding the double titles. He got rid of them weeks later, but never mind that. And then the fucking whooping. Like, you talk about gripping television, just like some shit you ain't, like, I don't want to say you haven't seen, because obviously they was doing this shit in ECW. Like, there was, you know, yes sir, may I have another, but like, this shit was just like, this man Cody's willing to like put it on the line. Like, when it comes to the stuff that's not the matches, like, he figured it out, like in ways. He's like, we had to cut more Cody stuff, because I had another Cody moment on here. It actually was in the match, the moonsault off the cage in Atlanta. So, and he's a part of the Brodie Lee squashing moment, which is like one of the hot angles of the year. Yeah, lots of stuff wherever you want to go with it. Of course, Kenny with the turn on Jon Moxley to win the AEW title on television. Third, Don Callis out of nowhere. We don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah, so it's everywhere, you know. I only wish fans were there to enjoy a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And react to it.
It's just the I you know, pick anything. Like, there are no wrong answers for this one. I feel like any of these are strong, or some of the were like just great works of a thing. Like, I think, you know, the thing lost in the Evil thing was like, Evil had been cheating all throughout the tournament, and like, it was just so well done. Like, you didn't know if, you know, he was going to. You had no reason to believe he was turning heel, and then all of a sudden, like, the fist turns to the too sweet, and then he like lays him out. It's like, yo, this is well done. Like, I'm not necessarily saying it's like, you know, Shibata coming out and whooping all the Bullet Club's ass till Kenta hits him, which I rewatched. It was like, yo, they protected him while making it seem like he was gonna do something. Like, they never came even close to his head. But it's like. But I could see why, like, if this was in front of, you know, a real, you know, a non-clap crowd, how fucking the heat would have been amazing for it. It would have been. But, you know, this damn year, man.
Yeah. Then our creative success of the year. So that's going to be kind of a more long-term success. First we got Jon Moxley's world title reign, Cody Rhodes' TNT championship reign, the Stadium Stampede match. So the cinematic wrestling finds a home here, along with the Boneyard match. I know some of you are probably wondering where the fuck were they at in the best match of the year. Sorry, we weren't going to let matches that took hours to do mix in with the other matches. So like, if we were going to talk about successes in that terms, and like, we kind of did, like, it didn't make it, but shout out to the greatest match ever with Edge and Orton, because that was, you know, that actually, that was a cinematic match, but it looked a whole lot like a match till, you know, they had the fucking cameraman in the ring when spots are happening. But yeah, there were like, the good cinematic matches make you almost like accept most of the shitty ones we saw, because the hit ratio is very low. It's like baseball. It's like baseball batting averages. just missing the cut, one final beat. You know.
How about the Hardy compound?
Oh my God! Oh,
how about the swamp match with Strowman and Wyatt?
Yo, the swamp match, horrible.
Yeah. What about Money in the Bank?
Horrible. Light it on fire like Bray Wyatt.
What about the Velveteen and Adam Cole match during WrestleMania time?
Throw it in the river.
Yeah. See.
So number 5. Takes a lot of
doo-doo to appreciate the diamonds.
Yeah. So Stadium Stampede, Boneyard match. Number 4. Number 5, Drew McIntyre's main event elevation. Number 6, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns.
Yes.
Number 7, Shingo Takagi's Never division. And number 8, Donna Del Mondo. Then their introduction into Stardom as a faction.
Yes.
So, like, all this stuff got over big time.
Yep.
Can't really, like, there's nowhere to, chip at and be like, yeah, that's kind of, So it comes down to what you watch, what you enjoyed. And when you put it down on paper, I was very open about my love for Cody's TNT title reign. And, it was getting people jobs and shit. Moxley, traditional classic world champion, monster killer, all those promos while he's a champion, doing great business, numbers wise, on the ratings. Those are the 2 most critically acclaimed cinematic matches. Drew McIntyre, them flipping the switch on him and people just loving him in a way that they don't love baby faces.
Remember
in WWE.
Right. Remember the end of 2018 when he did that job to Finn Balor and he was mixed up with Ziggler after they did the the Shield, the 8th Shield reunion versus McIntyre, Strowman, and Ziggler as Dogs of War. And we're like, why the fuck is he losing? What the fuck is going on? And it's like a year, 2 years removed from now, we're like, thank God they didn't ruin this man. Thank God. Because the second they flipped the switch on him, they pushed him the way that Vince would have pushed virtually anybody before like the last 6 years. And what do you know? Even with no crowds, we all recognize how that would have fucking worked. It's just so weird. Like Vince McMahon, he's not Vince anymore, but even Vince at the top still knows how to. He can still do the right things with the top babyface as long as there's not somebody else that's in the way. It's almost as if he killed so many fucking people that no one cares anymore that he can just do what he wants with a top babyface that's fresh.
And also, that man, COVID-19 helping him because he doesn't have to worry about a crowd rejecting anything.
That is true. Well, they rejecting this line of shit. I don't care if no one's there or not. That shit's getting rejected.
The Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns,
yes, sir.
We called for years. We said it would be awesome. And what do you know? Your boy's always ahead. And I don't think this was no great mystery or anything. It's just WWE wanted to fight everybody on it for years and years and years. And now it'll seem like it's their idea. No, bro. This is the way it should have been. Y'all could have had him over. And it looks like, hopefully it goes where I want it to go. Because then you talk about fixing Roman Reigns forever. So keep doing the right thing with that. So, lots of stuff there. And our last award, you got anything else on that, James?
Yeah. Donna Del Mondo. Donna Del Mondo worked so well as a faction that Julia comes in with the controversy of leaving Ice Ribbon when she's supposed to be tagging with someone that was due to retire. That person had to hold off on her retirement run to figure this shit out. Left literally on a less than 24 hours notice that she was leaving from one promotion to go to another one. Had to straighten out all this contract shit when there was a contract, whether we don't know if there was a buyout or they just ripped it up and let her just move on because she wanted the fuck out of there. People, Western fans fucking hate her. I've only seen one of her matches. I think it's a good ass match. It's well paced. I see that she is just willing to take a beating, absolute beating, get a match over. And it starts out and it does not seem to be working, and she's in there with Hannah, and Hannah is not cutting her any quarter. She's not doing her any favors. She is making her look like just uncomfortable. You can see it on Julia's face that she's just like having confidence issues, and then they're like, all right, hey, Taka Michinoku, you got this little rinky-dink promotion. You got this one girl with some promise that I had wrestle Utami. Let me holler at you. Let's discuss a buyout. Bring her.
Holla.
Yeah.
Holla at you.
Bring in one of the most respected vets in Joshi. 31 years old. Wrestle so long that she's like, she ties back to Asuka. or our Asuka, right? Bring her in. She just comes in, dusts her off as, from her doing like a million different promotions, whether it was Oz Academy or Seedling or Sendai Girls, Ice Ribbon. Bring her in, and she just anchors it, and all they do is bring them in the semi-main event or the main event, and they beat everybody's ass for months. In months, and in good ass matches over and 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 over, and I'm gonna say over like 5 more times to the point that you get it through your fucking head that woman is good. You will shut the fuck up, and by the time it's time to belt her, she's had all these good matches under her belt within this faction. They add onto the faction other talented people like Himeka and Natsupoi, but gets you set up with Tam, who it seems like that's Tam's a lot in life is to help these people that are coming back or in these weird transitions, get them over the top for the white belt. With Arisa last year, this year it's Julia. What do you know? It fucking worked again. It's almost like Tam's a great worker. They go out there from June to October and just fucking hate each other for months and kill each other every chance they get. And by that time, everyone's like, yeah, that Julia's good. No fucking shit. Thank you, Donna Del Mondo. I love you.
So yeah, man. The last award, the IWC award. So this is the internet controversy.
Wait, say that again. You broke up a little bit.
Eventually, I feel like I'm gonna have. So this is the IWC award. This is the biggest internet controversy. So I feel like the name of this is like really like it has some age on it. So if I can think of like another name eventually, I probably will. But yeah, let's get to it. The last 8 things in 2020. WWE fires people in a pandemic. Evil becomes the IWGP double champion. Speaking out. Kenny Omega goes in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. Tessa Blanchard exposed by women's wrestling community as a bigot. The Fiend loses the Universal title to Goldberg. Roman Reigns leaves WWE for 5 months. And how promotions handled COVID-19. Yeah, there was a lot of response to a lot of this stuff in a lot of different ways. People bugging the fuck out, losing their minds, bending over backwards the wrong way. Some stuff just crazy and sad, like speaking out. Yeah. And WWE firing people in the pandemic, of course, that whipped people into a frenzy. Evil. There were people defending this. There were people that were ripping this to shreds. Kenny Omega going to Observer Hall of Fame.
Breaking brains.
If I can say an all-time rant on the FOA's draft. If you guys want to hear that, I'm not going to do the whole thing again, but stop letting Kenny Omega break your brain. He's only one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Tessa Blanchard, that whole thing, that was just a full day of just constant entertainment, screenshotting into the group chats, listening to shit audio, literally. And then just one woman just ruining her own career off a tweet.
Off a tweet. All she had to do was sit there and eat her fucking meal. She ain't have to do shit. She was. We always talk about. We always talk about like these, like the heist robbery movies where, you know, or the veteran heist movies where it's like, okay, Al Pacino, he's an old mob boss, or he's an old thief and he's going off a heist, and this is his one last job before he gets out for good, and he just like. he gonna get caught, he gonna get shot, he gonna get stabbed, he gonna bleed out. He ain't no way he gonna make it. Ain't no way he gonna make it to the end. She almost got out. She almost made it. And she made one
And then Benny Blanco
mistake.
from the Bronx just shot her ass.
Yes, Carlito's way. She made one false move, and what happened? She got stuck like a fucking pig, and there she is.
Her shit was up in smoke like a Dr. Dre tour, bitch.
She almost. People already knew. I think we had already knew, but people had known about this story with La Rosa Negra, but it hadn't gotten mainstream. No one had heard it. No.
That shit went triple platinum that day, bitch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, that shit was like Eminem dropping, bitch.
Yes. The Eminem show,
Yes. Man.
The Fiend loses the Universal title to Goldberg. Just another part-timer thing falling out the sky. Fiend is actually built up, so dominant throughout the year. They just flipped the title on a whim off of Goldberg, popping one rating for them. It was crazy.
The thing for me that got me is like, you did this same fucking thing. Was it 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Same fucking thing around the same time of the year, 3 years ago. How many times you gotta learn this lesson, old man? Stop doing this shit. People resent y'all when y'all do this kind of shit.
Yes. Falling out the sky, like just, man.
And I don't blame Goldberg, because if I was Goldberg, is like, you give me the choice of whether or not I should job or have a competitive match with this, with a fucking dude with a clown mask on out here looking like the Violator from Spawn. Nah, he's going up, he's going back down.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. This is all on Vince.
Roman Reigns leaves WWE for 5 months just cause it exploded the promotion. Or exploded like as a news story. Like he leaves, WWE like doesn't mention him. They just hastily make a match with Strowman and Goldberg.
Yeah, this broke some brains too.
Through TMZ, he's doing interviews explaining why he left. We find out WWE's not testing at the time. And he eventually comes back, and then WWE like tries to recraft the narrative, and he wins back the title. Just a real interesting kind of story, and then seeing all the reactions to it from the Roman Reigns fans, from anyone else just weighing in on it. It's just like
it's so
I didn't know if they were happy. I didn't know. It was weird. It was like they were telling them
they fully happy now. They happy now. Like, oh, you're a heel now. We don't care. We like you. Just win. Like all the stuff that we had issues with Brock Lesnar doing to guys. We don't care because we like you. We don't care about the actual story and the process of that. We just liked you the whole time. It was always you. So go ahead and do it. Like I saw somebody today talk about a talking smack segment between Daniel Bryan and Paul
they've
Heyman.
been capping. I've been seeing it
about him saying he's a better wrestler. I saw someone mention, well, what about your brain and your neck? And I was like, oh, so that's what we're doing now. Oh, okay, all right,
yeah.
So
look,
yeah. But anyway, like. It's
you can
amazing.
easily turn that around, but I won't go there. I won't do it. I will not be petty.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that also gets me is like, y'all hated Brock Lesnar so much for him doing this, and now that Roman Reigns literally is doing Brock Lesnar in things, it's all good because it's the guy you like. It's like, come on, man. Like, y'all don't see this. Y'all pretending.
Yeah,
and it's not because like he's awesome because he's doing a whole hell of a lot more than Brock Lesnar's doing, but like the template is very much Brock Lesnar from the last from like 2 years ago, very much so.
Yeah, and then how promotions handle COVID-19. Some promotions shut down. Some weren't testing and just said fuck it. Some started testing.
Some were taking temperatures and in their fans took the bait on that. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess it must be safe. How many fucking COVID outbreaks has WWE had this year? Like 11 of them?
Lots.
Oh man.
I just this this year was crazy. We got a lot of doctors revealed on Twitter. We got them firing the people in the pandemic, so that was like crazy. That was like another day of just constantly refreshing your phone. Lots of stuff on here. Speaking out, we haven't talked about as much, but just one of the darkest moments in wrestling memory.
Yep, that was a day. That was a week where a lot of people's favorites just
jammed.
Can't do that no more.
Yeah, but those are your 2021 Nation Radio Awards. I will be sticking around with James after we finish recording to get the link to give him of the awards so you guys can vote on this. I'm putting together the document now. You know how it works. 3 points for your first place vote. Second gets 2 points. 1 for third. And then when there's a week free, I want to say we did the awards in the first week of February last year. Kind of works a little bit better for us, so we can get times for Wrestle Kingdom reviews. We got year-end stuff still. And by the time like February rolls around, there should be like a week where nothing happens. It'll be the perfect week. Gives me about a month to tabulate votes. And just enjoy the voting. We enjoyed putting this together. For as crazy as this year was, I think this is a really strong ballot overall, like these choices that you guys will be making. And we'll see what it is, because maybe it doesn't line up with what me and James think on some of this stuff.
And one thing I will say is, like, for those that only watch AEW at this point, or those that don't really fuck with AEW, I'm sorry, for those that don't fuck with either side of the Wednesday Night War, whether it's main roster or NXT or whatever, like, if you see like these nominees, I would really, if you care about my opinion, I really hope that you would look out and seek out some of this stuff if it's available to you, because we ain't just put this shit out here just because it's like we put this shit out because like we thought it was some of the best of wrestling this year. And also some of the worst wrestling, like the shit that was like the bad categories. I would suggest you don't go there.
Stay away.
Stay away from that darkness.
Don't fuck with it.
Yeah, but like the stuff like we're talking about match of the year, wrestlers of the year, feuds of the year, like there's reading for all that kind of stuff to go through it or whatever else. It was, from what we got, the best of what we got was still very damn good. Yeah,
man. So I guess that'll wrap it up for another year of One Nation Radio, our last show of the year. Thank you guys all for listening to us another year. This has been a crazy year when you think about everything. Appreciate everybody that's already reached out to us. Shout out to Greg, said how much they enjoyed the shows. Shout out to JML. Shout out to Brooklyn Ike. All the normal listeners and folks that are finding the show every day. We hope you guys appreciate our perspective and the laughs we bring. Shout out to Bruce, everyone in Suplex, Chad, shout out to Militia, who came on. So Tanya. So that was excellent earlier this year. Shout out to Tom Batista, who came on. Shout out to Jeremy, that came on. Floyd, a lot of people it jumped on with us to shoot shit about this wrestling. And we've been doing One Nation Radio since 2012. It's crazy that it's like we have this rich history of our own now, which is fucking nuts. I need to eventually go through all the award shows to get like a history of the One Nation Radio Awards to see how that would play out. So
it's changed so much.
Yeah,
like these last 2 years editions are so much different from like, let's say 4 years ago.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, like can you imagine like what our awards would look like if we didn't like start watching New Japan? Like I don't know. Like I don't know. Do you think we were still doing the show if we're just watching? If it was just WWE? Because I don't think so. Yeah, same here.
No.
Yeah. Like this show might still exist, but like it wouldn't be wrestling. It'd be like back to like kind of what the show was at the beginning, like just shooting the shit over all the stuff we cared about from the week with sports, music, whatever else.
Like the Joe Budden podcast, but like I'm not Maul, so like you figure that out. Like you know, but yeah, I guess time to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's in the show. Be sure to listen to. Wow, I'm getting my intro. Oh yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, and rate us on whatever app you're using. Listen to this with. Tell the folks about and also tell the people about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Also check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex picks up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Also check out the other shows on the network. This show. One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, the Ricky and Clyde Wrestling Podcast, Grown Men Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, Great Match Generator, and All Things Elite. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
You notice I didn't give dates because, like, these dates jumping around now because it's this time of the year. Like, I'm just like, let's give you all the names of the shows. Like, dates, we'll figure that out, like, once we get, like, back to January. You just listen, damn it. And download. All right, y'all. Later.
Peace.
It takes thousands of hours to become an astronaut, right, Nina?
Oh, I'm not an astronaut. I'm a design consultant at the Container Store.
But you explore space.
I help you find space with our Alpha Closet systems.
And you're an expert.
Pretty good at it.
And you use satellites to communicate.
I'm doing more virtual in-home closet designs, but I wouldn't say...
We salute you, astronaut Nina, for helping us find space.
You're welcome.
Hurry to the Container Store to save 30% on all Alpha systems. At the Container Store, where space comes from.